02-210-210 or visit www.agricbank.com. ADB, truly agric and more.
Join the conversation on the Citi Breakfast Show on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag CitiCBS.
This is the Citi Breakfast Show, the city's biggest conversation.
the day?
Yeah.
January is over. Everybody's ready. Moving on.
It's like the quickest January in a while.
Are you sure? Maybe you had a lot of money in your pocket.
He came to my office. He came to my office with a big envelope last week.
Oh, I see.
He was smiling. He quoted the scripture.
Thank you.
He said, when men say there's a casting down, you will say there's a lifting up. And he was quoting Job chapter 22.
Oh my word.
From verse 24. So Netta is in a different economy. Different tema. Different consequences.
Oh, I see.
So it's not like you and I. Was short.
I'm tapping into your
Tap into the blessing.
I think
Somebody said something very interesting and it struck me. Somebody says, if you watch Nigerians, right?
Yeah, man.
And one Nigerian meets another. So this person is a rich man.
Yeah.
The other Nigerian doesn't say it's probably fraud or something. All he says is that, oh, God bless me. Or, I tap into your blessing. I found it really interesting.
Tapping.
Yes, I tap into the blessing.
Later we tap into your.
You will discuss that.
Brutal.
But the papers are here. The Daily Graphic has a story that should concern all of us. Health alert. Intensify monitoring of food vendors. Nutritionist urges FDA. Okay, that's a very, very interesting one there. Other stories on the front page of the Daily Graphic. ECG owes Bui Power over $600 million. PAC urges quick recovery. BOG policy rate now 28%. And there's a picture of the Bank of Ghana governor there, Dr. Ernest Addison. On page 20 of the Daily Graphic, it says over 30,000 unclaimed passports gather dust. And the MTN Group CEO says modernize telecom regulations. And on the back page of the Daily Graphic, 5 arrested over tax evasion. And monkeypox claims 4 lives, 116 local cases recorded.
Okay, let me take you to the Ghanaian Times for this morning. Over 30,000 passports remain uncollected. According to the Foreign Ministry, comes with a photograph of the Minister for the Sector, Shelley Ayoko Bochwe. Also on the front page this morning, stop charging in dollars. The PAC is ordering state agencies. The photograph of Dr. James Kluche Aveji is there. And show love to persons with leprosy, according to Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, who is here dancing with a person with the condition. And Joy FM journalist testifies in police assault case.
All right, the New Crusading Guide says NDA bosses face court. And there's a picture of Sumaila Abdul Rahman, CEO of the Northern Development Authority. Hassan Tampoli cut sword for surgical and maternity block for constituents, commissions, nurses, bungalow.
That's beautiful.
Charlie, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Other stories. Alan is a man of integrity, according to Reverend Ampia Kofi. La Bianca and Rockland Farms launch partnership, and Private University Owners Association formed.
Let me take you to the Chronicle. There's a troubling story here on the front page regarding the police who normally will put their lives on the line in defense of our security. And the story says, family of slain cop neglected. Husband says he has traveled from Tamale to police headquarters 16 times without success. Oh, this UP Dampare, please, you have to do something about this.
IG.
Yeah, IGP, please. Also, we are told that capital projects will continue after IMF deal is secured, according to President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, who is here on the front page. And Alan has unblemished integrity, according to Reverend Ampia Kofi.
Interesting. The Anchor says Mahama rules out Dufour as president. Asks, why would 80-year-olds and 90-year-olds still want to lead? Me, I don't know if he really talked that, but that's what they are saying.
Tell it. No, this one. Yeah.
Small scale mining shoots up gold by 30%. Governor reveals.
You can't be age-shaming us.
You let's continue. We'll deal with that later. Yes.
We want to move, but you want to stay.
All right. SHS placement fraud. Education Minister. Myself must take the blame. Ex-GES boss. And the Anchor newspaper also has the passport story.
Let me take you to the Finder. Economic challenges hit banks severely. Profitability declines, loans impairment higher, and operating costs are rising big time. Also, we are told that individual bondholders not obliged to join DDEP, according to the forum led by Senyo Hoshi and the rest of the team. And GIJ UTAG chapter threatens to pull out of Unimark. I don't know, there's some trouble there. Right. And then there's a story here that says that tax infractions. GRA arrests managers of China Mall, ShopRite Palace Mall, and 2 others. What's happening in that space? Bernard, we have to look into it.
Yeah. Anyway, the Economic Times, finally from me. Public debt climbs up. Records, or is it records? Records. Records 575.7 billion cedis. Cedi to remain stable against the dollar. And postmortem of Ghana's economy and the DDE. And there's a picture of the finance minister there.
And finally, on the papers, for me, the graphic business has a story that says domestic debt exchange program. Central bank cushions banks. Also, something here that says African markets, buoyancy amid choppy waters. Another story says economy to weaken further in 2023. And a further story here says declining economic conditions impact on business valuation.
Let's go online for a few quick headlines. Don't accept domestic debt exchange. This is Individual Bondholders Forum reminding investors. Still on citynewsroom.com. Deadline for the exchange may be extended again. Joe Jackson is predicting. Meanwhile, the president says IMF deal will affect completion of capital projects. And then meanwhile, Asirun Kete has also been speaking. He says minority leadership change, NDC is not fragmented. If you go to myjoyonline.com, they are leading with a focus on WAEC, as they explained BEC grading system. Also, 3 grabbed for pulling down story building at cantonments, and 8 people arrested in school placement for sale expose. Meanwhile, the Professor Opoku Amankwa says, I should take full responsibility. This is the GES former Director General. Meanwhile, Mahama says gold for oil deal lacks transparency. It must go before Parliament. Now, if you go to citybusinessnews.com, policy rate increased by 100 basis points, now 28%. And then AMA to roll out digital revenue collection system March this year. Meanwhile, government says they've made progress in the debt exchange program. Now, an exclusive on City Business News, we will not lay off Vodafone staff. This is Telecel. You know that story already. And Michael Ogodu has been speaking to officials of Telecel who are taking over from Vodafone, and they're saying that they will not lay off staff. So let's get into the economy.
Okay, so let's take you to the Finder newspaper. Has a story about the challenges that our banks are facing in a very severe manner. Isaac Edu, writing for the paper, says current macroeconomic challenges are negatively impacting the banking and financial sectors, resulting in the sector's unimpressive performance in December 2022 compared with December 2021, as some key financial soundness indicators recorded significant declines. Profitability levels in the banking sector have declined, driven by the mark-to-market losses on investments, higher impairments on loans, and rising operating costs. Now, operating expenses rose by 32.2% in December 2022, compared with 14.2% growth in 2021. It goes on to say provisions also decreased or increased sharply by 184% in December 2022, relative to a contraction of 4.7% a year earlier, due to the strong uptick in credit growth, elevated credit risks, and impairments on investments. Very technical terms used here in this particular story. But the long and short of it is that the banking sector is not looking good.
Okay.
And largely as a result of the mark-to-market losses they are suffering.
Okay, talking about
And this
banks.
was released in the BOG policy announcement.
Yes, so this is on page 16 of the Daily Graphic. Now, the MPC, or the Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of Ghana, has increased the rate at which it lends to other banks from 27% to 28%. Now, this is the highest in more than 20 years.
Yes.
This means that when banks borrow from the central bank at a higher cost, they will equally increase the interest rates on loans to individuals and corporate bodies. It's expected to ultimately affect the ability to purchase goods and services, and hence douse inflationary pressures. Now, in line with that, Bright Simmons, who is the vice president of Imani Africa, has asked banks and investors to gear up for substantial write-offs as COCOBOT's refinancing prospects look gloomy. Now, this is on page 6 of the Economic Times. And according to him, the board has realized that the cocoa bills may be difficult to refinance. On his Twitter page on January 27 this year, Bright Simon said, quote, meanwhile, Cocoa Board finally realizes that plans to raise $3 billion to refinance cocoa bills are a pipe dream. Banks and other investors should start planning for significant write-offs.
Meanwhile, the Individual Bondholders Forum is reminding investors not to sign up to the debt exchange. So there appear to be mixed conclusions from the engagement with government. Now, the Bondholders Forum is advising persons with collective investment schemes not to succumb to pressure to sign on to the domestic debt exchange. The advice comes less than 24 hours to the expiration of the deadline for the program. It also comes after the group met with the finance minister for a roadmap over the inclusion of individual bondholders in the program, arguing that it will destroy household confidence in Ghana's financial system and securities market. Now, Joe Jackson has also been commenting on this, and he says he believes that the deadline for the debt exchange may be extended again since that particular thorn issue has not been resolved. Director of Operations at Dalex, Joe Jackson, is hopeful of another extension of the deadline of the domestic debt exchange to make more room for some finalized terms with subscribers of the program. Now, Finance Minister gave an indication that he would provide new terms to invite individual bondholders to the table. But as things stand now, the individual bondholders have been advised not to take up the offer. Now, let's move to quasi-economy issues. For example, oil for cash, ECG is in debt, is owed by, ECG owes Bui Power and a few other stories.
That's on page 16 of the Daily Graphic. And the Bui Power Authority has been advised to expedite its rate of recovering $614,373 debt owed it by the ECG. This is because the money owed the power generator,
$600 million.
Yes, has been indicated to be adversely affecting its ability to operate effectively and deliver on its mandate. The chairman of the Public Accounts Committee of Parliament, Dr. James Kluchi Aveji, gave the advice when the Ministry of Energy and its agencies took their turn before the committee to answer queries raised by the Auditor General for the year 2022. According to the reports, the ECG owed the authority $386 million as of the end of December 31, 2019, and that debt increased to $614.3 million by the end of 2022.
Wow. Let me take you to another story related to the PAC, and that story is in the Ghanaian Times. You see details on page 4 of the paper. Stop charging in dollars. PAC orders state agencies. After that, I'll tell you about a story regarding the tax sector, the GRA. And the story is by Jonas Sandonko, and says the Public Accounts Committee of Parliament yesterday directed state agencies in the energy sector to stop charging in dollars in compliance with the Foreign Exchange Act of 2006. Now, the chairman of the committee, Dr. James Kluche Aveji, tasked the sector minister, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, who appeared before the committee with the head of the agencies to ensure that they are complied with. Now, stop charging in dollars, he said at the committee meeting, which was probing sector agencies on the Auditor General's report on public boards and corporations and other statutory institutions for the period or ending 2020. Now, it goes on to detail some of the other matters that came up before the committee yesterday, but the crux of the matter is that state agencies should stop charging in dollars. And
stay with issues of that, because the GRA has been clamping down on some companies. And now the context to that, don't forget that Ghana GRA has already said that Tallow Oil owes it money. It also says MTN owes it. In fact, in the past 3 weeks, Ghana has asked MTN to pay over $770 million in taxes. And then it has also said that Tallow owes it quite a lot of money. The story that we know is that about $300 million is outstanding, according to the GRA. So we put the Tallow's $300 million to MTN $700 million.
That's $1 billion.
That's $1 billion for two companies. They are also doing other things on the local front. If you can give me that headline.
Okay, so the story is on page 5 of the Finder, written by Christabel Obushi Annan. And the story says the Ghana Revenue Authority has handed over 5 managers of 5 shopping centers to the Criminal Investigations Department of the Ghana Police Service for an investigation into non-compliance with the country's tax law. Now, the facilities are China Mall, Palace Shopping Mall, Snedda Shopping Center, ShopRite, and Fresh Fest Limited, the second cap, all at the Spintex area in Accra.
Sorry, can you repeat the names? I just want to...
The names are the China Mall, Pali Shopping Mall, Sneda Shopping Center, ShopRite, and Fresh Fest Limited.
All on the Spintex Road.
Yeah, all on the Spintex Road. Now, the story says that Acting Commissioner of the Domestic Tax Revenue Division at GRA, Mr. Edward Appington Jamera, stated that the Value Added Tax Act of 2013, as amended by Act 1082 and Act 1087, mandates every VAT taxpayer to issue electronic VAT invoices with details that are prescribed by the Commissioner General when they provide services or supply goods. Now, he noted that unfortunately, these facilities have found a way of going off the system, with receipts being issued with the same QR code, duplicate receipts with the signature of the Commissioner General, and invoices not certified by the Commissioner General. Now, there's a further development here. He indicated that the findings that they have made from the field reveal that a cross-section of taxpayers were issued invoices that were not certified by the Commissioner General as required by the law. And he explained that some issue false tax invoices or sales receipts, while others fail to integrate the certified invoicing system of the taxable person into the invoicing system of the Commissioner General. And he goes on to detail some other matters having to do with this whole tax regime. And what I don't understand is why they will be arresting the managers if it is the institution or the company, strictly speaking, that is committing what would seem to be a crime in this particular matter.
Well, you know, GRA had mounted a surveillance in some of these companies. And they had their people sitting there to check. So I'm not sure whether that's related, but tax issues are big here. Let me just give you one quick one before you come, Nathan. Gold for oil agreement must go before Parliament. John Mahama has been speaking in the UK. Our president says Ghana government must put before Parliament the gold for oil agreement for parliamentary scrutiny and approval, since the deal is an international financial transaction. Now, you also were quoting the uncle that he said something about people of a certain age. Was he at the same place?
Yes, he was at the same place.
Okay, what did he say?
Okay, so the former president was speaking at a forum at Chatham House in London.
Same program.
Yeah, same program. Now, he said that leaders who were elderly, as it turns out, were unable to make right decisions due to old age.
Oh, I made that.
Okay, so the opening paragraph says the former president is subtly shooting down the possibility of the former finance minister, Dr. Kwabena. But the answer is
But what did he actually say?
He said, quote, when you have leaders who have problems in terms of thought, they have no business continuing being in leadership. Especially when you have a continent with a population as youthful as Africa. 60% of the African population is young.
Yes.
So why would 80-year-olds and 90-year-olds still want to lead?
Is there a 90-year-old who is leading, who wants to lead?
I don't know. I was going to say they should be home taking care of their grandchildren. But I recently became a grandfather myself. He said amidst laughter.
So it means you won't say it again.
You won't say the grandpapa.
We will not lay off Vodafone staff. Telecel. This is Citi News exclusive. CitiBusinessNews.com. Management of Telecel Group has assured the staff of Vodafone of no layoffs as it takes over the company. This was the NCA's approval for the transfer of the 70% majority shares in Ghana Telecoms held by Vodafone International BV Holdings to Telecel Group. Since news broke about the deal, there's been an easy calm among the staff of Vodafone over their job security. Now, in an exclusive interview with Citi Business News, managing partner at Telecel Group, Nicholas Borg, said there is no cause for concern. Good, not at all. We don't have any plans to lay off anybody. That's not the way we operate in Telecel. No, he said we proved it with different organizations that we have had in different sectors. Our plan is to keep every employee of Vodafone. He's stressed. And the background is given by the writer. NCA has given approval for, it's called a provisional approval for the transfer of 70% of the shares of Vodafone UK to Telecel.
Okay. Page 20 of the Daily Graphic, quickly. Those who are wondering where your passports are, well, the Daily Graphic is saying that more than 30,000 uncollected passports are gathering dust at the various passport application centers across the country. At the Accra and Kumasi passport application centers, where the bulk of the applications are handled, 30,000 passports processed and issued are yet to be collected by the applicants. This is in spite of text messages sent to the applicants alerting them to visit the PACs for collection. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration has stated.
Wow, I think there has to be some education by the Ministry of Information on that particular matter to ensure people go there to collect their passports. But there's a story that disturbs me, Bernard. It's on page 3, details on page 3, but it's actually the big story on the front page of the Chronicle for this morning. Family of slain cop neglected. And John Bediako writing says, the husband of the murdered police non-commissioned officer, the details of the number supplied here, Agasa Nana Nabin, is reminding the Interior Minister about his promise to cater for their 3 children till they attain age 18. Now, the husband, Paul Nabin, gave the reminder in a telephone conversation with the Chronicle on Monday, January 30, 2023. Now, according to him, on August 24, 2019, at the Holy Cross Parish in Tamale, during the burial service of his slain wife, the Minister for the Interior, Ambrose Derry, promised that government was going to take care of their 3 children until they attain 18 years. Now, he regretted that after this statement was made, not even a pesewa has been received from government to take care of the children. Now, the children are Christabel Nabin, who is 12, Josephine Nabin, who is 9, and Jessica Nabin, who is 5. Now, he added that since the incident, he has traveled from Tamale to Accra 16 times. Do you know the distance? To access a constitutionally instituted package at the police headquarters without success. There's a further development here where he says that taking care of the 3 children alone without a mother, and since the means are not there to engage the services of a caretaker, is overburdening me, unquote, he stated.
Let me give you a couple of final stories. This is the finder. 3 grabbed for pulling down story building at cantonments. 3 persons who allegedly pulled down a story building worth $2.2 million. At cantonments in Accra have appeared before an Accra Circuit Court. The 3 accused are Mohammed Awudu Lamin, 32-year-old trailer driver, Enoch Makba, an excavator operator, and Mohammed Harrison, a 48-year-old carpenter, charged with unlawful entry, conspiracy to commit crime, and causing unlawful damage. Now, they pleaded not guilty. The court presided over by Mrs. Kizatana Kowakwashi admitted the accused persons to the bill to the sum of 2 million cedis, each with 2 sureties, one to be justified with landed property with title deeds. Now, the details of the case are given that, on January 25 this year, so this is just 3 days ago, at about 5:30 a.m., the accused persons conspired and entered the house of the late Okraku Mante and caused damage to the property at cantonments worth $2.2 million. The prosecution said the complainant had information on the ongoing destruction of the building and informed the police. It said when the police arrived at the scene, Magba was seen operating the excavator, and when quizzed, he mentioned Harrison as the one who contracted it. The prosecution said Lamin and Magba also said they were contracted by one Mr. Aite, who engaged them to pull down the building, but they failed to lead the police to the said Mr. Aite.
You see, when you are excavator operator, or you are carpenter, and someone comes to contract you to go and demolish a building, there are things that you must see with your eyes to be sure that this thing is proper. Don't just get up at dawn or in the middle of the night, go and be destroying somebody's property.
Willy-nilly.
Because this one, the law will grab you. It is not the right way to do it. If you're in doubt, seek legal advice.
$2.2 million.
That's a lot of money. And where is operator? What's the name? The excavator operator. Where is he going to get that money from?
It'd be serious, though.
Yeah, I mean things like that. Can get you into trouble, and they seem to be.
All right, a few international stories. 8 people shot dead at birthday party mass shooting in South Africa. This is a place in the Eastern Cape province, and a few other stories of note globally. Thank you, gentlemen, for being on the show.
Yeah,
there'll be more later on. Coming up next, the City Business News.
You know, your Papa see that? And it's rickety car. Hey, Papa! Papa!
Bobo, so how your engine now?
It is half man, half a
Business News coming up shortly with Netelia Jaho, brought to you by MTN. The new year has begun, and what better way to begin than with a fresh and brand new SIM from your favorite network. From the months of January all through from the months of January, all SIM card prices will be just 10 Ghana cedis. So join the MTN family, begin the year with great coverage and super fast internet connections everywhere you go. This is also brought to you by Access Bank, Goyle, and Enterprise Life. Good morning, Natalie.
Good morning, Bernard. Hello and welcome to the breakfast edition of Citi Business News, proudly brought to you by MTN, Goyle, Enterprise Life, your advantage, Access Bank, more than banking, and powered by your most comprehensive business news website, citibusinessnews.com. Coming up, Bank of Ghana assures of measures to help reduce impact of debt exchange program on banks, and economist says the central bank's hike in the policy rate is expected. To our stories now, and the Bank of Ghana has assured of robust measures to help reduce the impact of the debt exchange program on banks. The deadline for the domestic debt exchange program is expected to expire today. Stakeholders are eyeing government's next move, given the agreement it recently reached with groups of individual bondholders and players within the banking and insurance industry. Here's the Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison.
There are emerging signs that the current macroeconomic conditions are spilling over to the banking sector. Profitability levels have declined alongside other financial soundness indicators. The latest macro-prudential risk assessments indicated increased pressure on solvency and liquidity of banks ahead of the implementation of the domestic debt exchange program. To moderate the impact on the sector, the Bank of Ghana has announced some regulatory reliefs for banks to help preserve financial stability. The government of Ghana has reached a staff-level agreement with the IMF, which spells out measures that will put the fiscal on the path of consolidation. Consistent with the SLA was the 2023 budget, which has just been passed by Parliament and includes the consolidation efforts.
That was the Governor of the Central Bank, Dr. Ernest Addison. Director of Strategy and Business Operations at Dalex Finance, Joe Jackson, is bemoaning the alarming country's current GDP ratio. He maintains that the liable debt could be higher than the current figures presented by the central bank. Ghana's total public debt has shot up to 557.7 billion Ghana cedis at the end of November 2022. The new debt figure brings Ghana's debt to gross domestic product to 93.5%. But speaking on Citi FM's Eyewitness News, Joe Jackson expressed concern of government's use of large portions of its revenue to service debt.
The debt for which the government of Ghana is ultimately liable could be much higher than this. We're talking here about the debt that most probably has been contracted directly, but the debt that we are ultimately liable could be much higher than this. We are indebted. We are in this country. When the government borrows, it takes it to Parliament, and our representatives in Parliament give their accent. So once that happens, you and I have borrowed the money, and no Ghanaian can exclude himself from this process. It is sovereign debt. It is debt that is owed by Ghana and Ghanaians. But I'll tell you what, it is not that sum that scares me. What scares me was a simple statement by the Minister of Finance at the launch of the domestic debt exchange program. What he said was that servicing the debt or paying the interest on Ghana's debt takes up 70%. Sometimes as high as 100% of all the revenue that the government makes.
That was the Director of Strategy and Business Operations at Dalex Finance, Joe Jackson. Economist Patrick Esuming has described as expected the Bank of Ghana's decision to hike the rate of the policy rate to 28%. The Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of Ghana yesterday increased its policy rate, that's the rate which it lends to commercial banks, by 100 basis points to 28%. It cited downside risks to inflation and exchange rate depreciation as major reasons. Dr. Patrick Isuming has been speaking to Citi Business News.
I think it was largely expected. So you know that the inflation has continued to increase from their last meeting. And then you also note that there are a few other developments that are likely to put further pressure on the inflation. We can talk about the utility bills that are going to go up. And then you notice that fuel prices have gone up at the last window and it's likely to go up again. And the cedi depreciation, well, it's still continuing. So when you put all of these together, you get a sense that additional price pressures are expected, and that explains why they have raised the policy rate again. It's difficult to tell because the economy might see further shock, and if there are any other shocks, it's difficult to predict what will happen. But it's expected that as it seems that we are nearing the end of the domestic debt exchange program, if we start doing the fiscal consolidation under the IMF program, that in the medium term going forward, that will definitely help in reining in the inflation. But we shouldn't expect that inflation will come down to normal level.
That was economist Dr. Patrick Isuming. As the government makes efforts to revive the national career, CEO of Ethiopian Airlines Group, Mesfin Bekele, has been sharing some pointers he believes will ensure the project succeeds. After the operations of Ghana Airways ground to a halt in 2008, plans have been initiated to resume flights. There's more in the following report.
Once the beacon of aviation on the continent, Ghana Airways was founded on 4th July 1958 by the government of Ghana with startup capital of £400,000. At its prime, the airline flew major routes and had some of the prime aircraft in its fleet. But things began to turn sour, particularly around the year 2000 after surviving major challenges. Passengers en route to Baltimore had been left stranded at some point in their transit flight, affecting the once illustrious image of the brand. The national carrier's debt had also reached a concerning level, with one of the airline's DC-10s seized at Heathrow Airport in June 2002 after $4 million in unpaid debt by one of its British creditors who got a legal judgment in order to recoup the debt. The creditor only released the aircraft after the airline paid $1 million. After the seizure, it was reported that Ghana Airways was some $160 million in debt, and the airline would require a foreign partner if it were to survive. As the debt of the airline could not be resolved, in December 2008, the government released some $2.25 million to the liquidator to pay the final installments in severance claims to ex-employees of Ghana Airways. However, in 2020, the government of Ghana announced an MOU with Egypt Air to restart Ghana Airways. CEO of Ethiopian Airlines Group, Mesfin Tassiu, has been speaking on this development.
The airline business is different from other industries like banks or factories. It's a different business, and it requires special competencies, special experience, particularly in the leadership, to successfully set up an airline and develop it.
Mr. Tassiu added that to ensure national airlines succeed in the sub-region, they must be allowed to operate as entities without intrusion.
That was the CEO of Ethiopian Airlines Group, Mesfin Tassiu Bekele, ending that report filed by Michael Ogbedu. Suzuki Motor Corporation is assuring its Ghanaian customers that it will maintain the same high standards that the brand is known for globally. The company on Monday commissioned its first batch of vehicles that were assembled here in Ghana. This initiative is based on an MOU on cooperation in developing automotive industry signed between Toyota Tsusho and the government of Ghana in August 2019. Speaking at the commissioning ceremony of the first locally assembled Suzuki Swift, Managing Director of CFO Ghana PLC, Ade Damola Adelabu, said the vehicles assembled in Ghana meet international standards.
Toyota Tsusho Company is one corporation that will not compromise quality. It is just a shift in terms of geography. All standard quality measures are still going to be 100% adhered to. Compliance is the watchword. So be rest assured, nothing And for all that you know, we have GSA, which is also partnering with us strongly on this. And the collaboration has been so good. And no quality standards will be compromised. You can be rest assured. For the consumers, I would say it's a welcome development. Good to hear also that the government also made commitment in terms of financing. So there'll be quite a whole lot coming into the plate. It's not just about assembly, but future plans will really involve how best components can also be locally manufactured, how best financing can be accessed by people. And ultimately, that will give us the pedestal upon which we can grow as a business, as a country.
That was the managing director of CFO Ghana PLC, Adedamola Adelabu. Now on the interbank foreign exchange markets, where banks trade amongst themselves, the dollar lost 1 peso and is selling at 10 cedis 79 pesos. The British pound also lost 1 peso and is selling at 13 cedis 37 pesos. The euro, however, remained unchanged and is selling at 11 cedis 7 pesos. However, at some forex bureaus within the capital, the dollar is selling at 12 cedis 80 pesos. The British pound is selling at 15 cedis 60 pesos and the euro at 13 cedis 55 pesos. Let's now join Mark Jordan Sikanate of DataBank for the latest updates on the bonds market.
Last week, the Ghanaian Treasury beat its auction target by 705.1 million Ghana cedis as it accepted 1.98 billion Ghana cedis out of bid worth 2.05 billion Ghana cedis. The 91-day and the 364-day yields advanced to 35.71% and 35.81% respectively, whilst the 182-day yield retreated to 35.76%. Weekly turnover dropped 54.8% to 954.15 million Ghana cedis, whilst the Data Bank Bond Index increased to 81.11 points with a year-to-date loss of 0.18%.
That was Mark Jordan Sikanate of DataBank. And that does it for the breakfast edition of City Business News, proudly brought to you by MTN, Goil, Enterprise Life, Your Advantage, and Access Bank, More Than Banking, and powered by your most comprehensive business news website, citybusinessnews.com. My name is Netilinete Ajaho. Have a good business day.
Isn't life wonderful when everything worth doing is scheduled, hitting the
of health and wellness, including psycho-emotional benefits, and which is why we need to address the pain and the cause of the pain, just so that we make the experience holistic, pleasurable, just so the individuals, particularly the women, can derive the benefit. For instance, good sexual experience, when you have good sex, that leads to orgasm, at least 2 of that a week, has been found through scientific research to even limit the risk of some medical disorders by 50%.
Serious?
Yes.
2 times a week?
Yes, 2 times a week. You are calling like a prescription.
Some people are actually, this one they have to scatter.
And obviously the more the better.
People are updating their notes and making new resolutions.
And so it has a tendency to boost your immunity.
Forgive.
And that's how your body is able to stand up to infections and be able to protect itself. It enhances your mood.
Beyond thinking of employment opportunities to work opportunities. And what do I mean by this? Many people are finding that having one job is either too insecure or doesn't pay you enough to live. So instead, they have different work streams. So maybe I might be on a platform like Fiverr, where I offer my services as a graphic designer. On the other side, I may also have another side gig where I'm doing some jewelry thing and I put that on Instagram. On another side, I might do a little consulting where I'm giving people advice or coaching. So that's what we call the diverse work opportunities. So that's a mindset shift, that to be future ready, start thinking not necessarily of this one job, but these different work opportunities. Go beyond thinking of employment opportunities to work opportunities. And what do I mean by this? Many people are finding that having one job is either too insecure or doesn't pay you enough to live.
I think Galamsey is a mental problem. It's a mental problem. It's a mindset problem that you think you can steal today and still eat your cake tomorrow. I think that if you could go to the next slide.
Year inflation and also monthly inflation, both have been rising in almost unprecedented fashion. The Bank of Ghana seems to think raising the rate is what will tame inflation, although it is not working. We'll try and do some quick thinking around that. Then there's something else that I felt was worth talking about. The Energy Commission is in a standoff with importers. And I think this importers versus Energy Commission issue is a proxy for many issues in Ghana. Now, Energy Commission intends to ban the importation of used electrical appliances. And the importers say this ban will affect their livelihoods. What do we want as a country? We'll try and understand why the Energy Commission wants to ban these things, and whether there's a middle ground somewhere. Now, I'm using this as a proxy for other discussions. So our economy is heavily import dependent. Does the solution start from banning, or does the solution start from creating the local production capacity? And I'm sure the Commission will tell us that they have enough local or first-hand imports. If you want to bring in irons, you want to bring in washing machines, you want to bring in those things that people go and pack. I mean, you are driving somewhere and sprinters, you see they've packed some things from a container. And then, Charlie, I'm on for Russia there, no? Charlie, you see washing machine, you see rice cooker, you see all kinds of things.
No, but I think that the primary basis for this would be health based, and a lot of these things are long term. You won't see them in the short term, but in the long term, you will notice that using these appliances will end up affecting you yourself.
And I think the Energy Commission's main argument will have to do with dumping. Some people have used something and they want to throw it somewhere, they bring it to Africa. We don't want to be the offscoring of the world anymore. And then they also feel there's environmental issues there, climate change and all these things. But then the importers are also saying, Charlie, their livelihoods are at stake.
When it comes to livelihood then you won't do anything, because with everything there's livelihood connected to it. That's the
that's what you do, Charlie. Ban the thing.
It's just one of those things. It's a hard pill.
Yes, but you have to swallow it. As in the blow, which is inevitably yours, the sooner you take it. Okay. Well, I want listeners to tell me what they think. The lines are drawn. There was a press conference last week where Guta and the national executives of some importers said they would not agree to the ban. Energy Commission has also stated their reasons for the ban. We'll try and see if we can bring some insight into the discussion. But Kickoff is brought to you by Lesheho. And if you're a private school targeting to buy a school bus sometime this year, why wait for when we can support you? Do it now. Come along, apply for a competitive school bus loan with convenient payment terms by calling 057-411-7851, and let's do it together. Lesheho, let's improve life. The transfer season,
it's transfer deadline day.
And I think Chelsea, the restraining order did not work. They bought everything viable.
Hey. Let's get into the headlines. And SWAG President Kwabena Yeboah calls for introspection into the fortunes of Ghana football. Now, Portuguese fullback João Cancelo close to a shock switch to Bayern Munich on loan from Manchester City, and it's deadline day, so we will be here from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. to serve you everything transfer news. And also in the NBA, there were wins for the Magic, the Nets, and the Golden State Warriors. Let's get into the details. And President of the Sports Writers Association of Ghana, Kwabena Yeboah, has called for a deep reflection on Ghana's dwindling fortunes in football in recent years. He made these comments at the 47th edition of the SWAG Awards held at the Accra International Conference Center.
Amidst the ignominy and discomposure, that needs to remind us we have to do a sober introspection into our life as a football nation. It's been 40 years since Kumasi Asante Kotoko ruled Africa, and 23 years since glorious South Africa dominated the continent. The statistics sadly indicate the rest of Africa have overtaken us as we now play catch-up. We need to work smart and invest meaningfully in our sport to halt the rot. Isn't it sad that in our last 4 World Cup appearances, we cannot boast of any major legacy project from the FIFA money, much of which was shared among players and officials? We certainly have to take a second look at the practice, for instance, of paying as much as $100,000 to some management members as appearance fees.
You heard SWAG President Kwabena Yeboah speaking there. Now, still on the SWAG Awards, President of the Ghana Boxing Authority, Abraham Nikwe Kote, has described his outfit getting recognized by the organization as a big deal. Now, the GBA was recognized as one of the top 5 sports federations of the year after organizing a series of events highlighted by the Deluxe Boxing League in the year 2022.
This happens to be the first time that the Ghana Boxing Authority have win such an award, you know. To us, it's a big deal. You know, it's a big deal. It tells us the effort we put in 2020 have bring in results. Sports Writers Association will recognize that effort, and then they give us such an award. We say God bless them and God bless Ghana Boxing.
You had President of the Ghana Boxing Authority, Abraham Nikwe Kote, speaking there. Let's get to some football news. And Lagos City's head coach Maxwell Konedu has attributed his team's poor form in the Bet Power League to their constant change of home grounds. The Royals have won just 1 of their last 7 home matches, lost 2 and drawn 5. Now, their latest defeat was at the hands of Bechim United at the Accra Sports Stadium last Friday. Konedu says the current situation is worrying.
I mean, any coach will be worried when you're not winning your home matches, especially here in our league. You need to be taking your home points. See? But we don't have a hope. We're playing at Sugar Copper today, at Crossport Stadium tomorrow, the next day, and we don't have a hope. But all the same, we need to keep the boys together and try to work and bring out the best out of them. I mean, we are doing our best, but just that is not enough. Today, in the second half, we didn't play well.
Lagos City's head coach Maxwell Konedu speaking there, and still with the league, head coach of Kotoku Royals John Eduafo says he is optimistic that his side will avoid relegation despite their 5-1 thrashing at the hands of Asante Kotoko at the Babayara Stadium last Sunday. Now, the newcomers have won just 2 of their Premier League games after 14 rounds of matches and are bottom of the table with 7 points.
I would say yes. We are picking it game by game, and gradually we are coming. Despite the fact that we have lost a game against Kotoko, doesn't mean that we should lose hope of surviving in the relegation. We will still survive. I believe in this. I think I had to improve on my attacking team because even though we had to concede a goal, but if my attacking machine is able to score some goals, I think that it will help because looking at Kotoko, it is the ability to score more goals. That is why they are there. And so if you have a team and you are not able to score, then how are you going to improve? How are you going to progress? How are you going to move forward? So I think that in as much as we are conceding goals, we need to try and score some goals as well.
Let's move on to some foreign stuff and let's get to the camp of Everton. And their new manager, Sean Dyche, has called on fans of the club to be patient with him. The 51-year-old has been appointed on a 2.5-year contract until 2025 June and replaces Frank Lampard, who was sacked last week. The 51-year-old has been out of work since he was dismissed by Burnley last April after almost 10 years at the Clarets.
Well, firstly, delighted, obviously. Big challenge ahead, but one I'm ready for, one I want to take on. The staff as well. Looking forward to hopefully playing my part in realigning things, you know, it starts in a weird way off the pitch, actually. You know, getting a feel of the group. I've got to learn about the group, going onto the pitch. I know about the fans, that's for sure, and how precious this club is to them, and showing them that we're ready to work and we're ready to give them what they want. And certainly that starts with sweat on the shirt, bit of effort, bit of feel, and getting back to some of the basic principles of what Everton Football Club, in my opinion, has stood for a long time. Yeah, I think the passion is a big one. You know, I remember the teams of the 80s and all them days, and fortunate to know some of the lads who played in that Kev Ratcliffe and Peter Reid and people like that. You know, the stories of the Dogs of War and the feeling and the stadium, how it feels. I've been in here obviously with teams and experienced that when it's really rocking. Tougher times at the moment, but we want to bring back that feel, that good feel. And all I can ask for is a bit of a breather, you know, because I know there's a lot going on at the minute. At the end of the day, we need the fans. You know, we need unity. We need to be aligned from right the way through the ownership, right the way through me, right the way through the staff, into the team and out to the people. You know, the people's club, and I've always felt that way from a very young age about the club. And it's my chance to be a custodian of it and look after it and play my part.
So you had Everton head coach Sean Dyche speaking there. Let's get to some other news. A new AFC Bournemouth striker Antoine Semenyo says it's always been his dream to play in the Premier League after completing his move to the club. The 23-year-old has joined Bournemouth on a 4.5-year deal for £10.5 million from Championship side Bristol City. Now Semenyo is hoping to help his team win games and survive relegation in the Premier League.
That's unbelievable, to be honest. I've been waiting for a while for this to be done, and you know, I'm happy it's done and can't wait to get started. The interest was from last summer. Injury occurred, so it kind of downplayed a little bit, but continued, came back from injury, started playing well, and interest came back again, so you know, can't complain. I mean, I dreamed of this as a kid, so you know, now it's reality. Now it's time to get to work. Play along the front three, left, right, and down the middle. Quick, strong, can use both feet really well. So you know, I'm hoping I can add that to the team and you know, help us win games.
So you had Antoine Semenyo, new striker for AFC Bournemouth, speaking there. Let's get to some transfer-related stuff. And tonight we'll be here with all the transfer juice from 8 to 10 p.m. Chelsea Football Club, they are close to agreeing a deal for Benfica's Enzo Fernandez after making a £105.6 million bid, the same value as the midfielder's release clause. Now, Chelsea have also been in talks to sign the Argentine World Cup winner throughout this month, but Benfica had refused to do business until the Blues paid the €120 million release clause. Now, Arsenal are also seriously considering a move for Chelsea midfielder Jorginho. Now, the Gunners see a potential opportunity as the player is entering the final 6 months of his contract with Chelsea, trying to finalize a deal for Enzo Fernandez. Now, Arsenal remain ready to do a deal for Moises Caicedo if Brighton change their not-for-sale stance. Now, Tottenham have finally also made a breakthrough in their talks to sign Sporting Lisbon right wing-back Pedro Porro. The deal is now close to being finalized after a day of intensive talks, and there's growing optimism that the transfer will be completed before the deadline for a fee in excess of £39 million. Now, Spurs are also trying to structure the payments towards the fee so they can pay in installments. Now, let's get to some other stuff. And Manchester City defender Joao Cancelo, he is in line for a loan move to Bayern Munich before the January transfer window closes. Now, a deal that also includes an option to buy the fullback at £61 million has been agreed. So Pedro Porro to Joao Cancelo, very interesting move happening in the transfer market. Just before we go, let's catch up with a few scores from the NBA. The Brooklyn Nets, they beat the Lakers 121-104. The Magic also won on the road against the Sixers. The Mavericks won at home against the Pistons. And then there was also the Golden State Warriors beating the Thunder. The Phoenix Suns won at home. The Portland Trail Blazers also beat the Atlanta Hawks. That's all for this morning's edition of Kickoff. My name is Benjamin Nketia. Kickoff was brought to us by Lecheho. There's more sports at citysportsonline.com.
Trust the process. The biggest things often start.
The cost of production has gone equally very high. My colleague from Ghana Water Company is talking of costs. But I will just use products for us to understand. Last year, we were using 200 bags of aluminum sulfate a day. This year, we are using 300 bags of aluminum sulfate. That is something at the galamsey size. What it means is that Ghanaians on our own cannot protect our water bodies. And that is what has translated into the illegal mining, those who are mining in the rivers, because they do not see the need to protect that resource. And so I think that the galamsey, yes, but there are other activities that are destroying our water. And we must expand the protection into all our water bodies. And that's why we have to call for the strengthening and resourcing of the Water Resource Commission, because they are supposed to protect the water bodies for us. But I don't think they are resourced enough. The cost of
What is the worst case scenario we will see in the next 6 months if we don't stop this now? You've said 100% in some areas polluted, 60 some.
Yeah.
What's the worst case scenario with regards to our water security as a country in the next 6 months?
The immediate one will be that probably we will not get treated water from that water company. They will have to shut down. The long term is that most of their equipments will be destroyed forever, and they have to bring in, so it goes back to the investments. But apart from just us getting water to drink, agriculture is affected already. We are going to have food security issues, not just water security. Economic growth will suffer. We are already in a system where we are struggling to see how best we can come out of this. So it is a complete system.
Citi TV is live on DSTV. Go to channel 363. On GoTV, access Citi TV on channel 182. On a digital TV, please press the menu button on the remote control and run a new search on your TV. Take note that without an antenna, you cannot access Citi TV on your television. Citi TV can be accessed on a free-to-air digital box like the GoTV and StarTimes box. Citi TV, it's your world.
Know yourself. As much as you can, try to know yourself.
Okay.
And I want to entreat for those of you out there who want to know yourself. We have the ability, we have the technology, we have the lab analysis that will help you to know yourself. So you will not be just placing yourself in assumption and interpretation of other people. So when they ask you who you are, you'll be able to tell who exactly you are, because that influences your decision, your choices, and even help you to manage your life. You don't want to live this world without really coming to know who you are. So you're just trying to be like other people till you die without really coming to know yourself. So when you get in touch, we can give you what you have to do in order to get your lab analysis so that you can be so proud of yourself and even your children. So you don't struggle to know what your children will do in the future and all that. That is just a plus that you can give to yourself as your New Year package. And then you need to actually question your opinions of life. Know yourself as much as you can.
Sexual intimacy has a huge load of health and wellness, including psycho-emotional benefits, and which is why we need to address the pain and the cause of the pain, just so that we make the experience holistic, pleasurable, just so the individuals, particularly the women, can derive the benefit. For instance, good sexual experience, when you have good sex, that leads to orgasm, at least 2 of that a week, has been found through scientific research to even limit the risk of some medical disorders by 50%.
Serious?
Yes.
2 times a week?
Yes, 2 times a week. You are calling it like a prescription.
Some people are actually, this one they have to scatter.
And obviously the more the better.
People are updating their notes and making these resolutions. Well, as demolishing,
so
she's there.
It has a tendency
there's
to
nothing
boost
that happens in that constituency that she doesn't know. So she's obviously doing something right. You leader Sarah Malhassan, MP for Ayawaso West Wuogon.
My spirit takes flight.
Million households in Ghana, and they said if we did 1,000 cedis per house at a 50% collection rate, we'll raise over 8 billion in
property rates.
So there's a lot of money in property rates, and I feel if you are running Ayawaso West Wuogon as the DC or the MC, they should put the job. They should put the job in the graphic as an advert and say, okay, let's assume, and this is with the assumption you are not voting for MCE. Okay, so free advice. Okay, they will say apply. The qualification for the job must be able to generate IGF to manage the assembly without needing central government. Must have a plan for property rate collection. Okay, now either we do it that way or we let GRA do the property rate collection. So there are two alternatives. So no, you see, the government's policy of slicing and dicing assemblies has weakened their capacity. So if 20 years ago, under Natnuno Amatefio, AMA said come and pay property rate, you would come because it was a big organization with a lot of resources. Now, the AMA today, if they say come and pay property rate, sometimes they put even brings, like they haven't even eaten. So it's very small. So the thing is, either you you make the job of mayor or whatever competitive, so that people who have a track record of managing space take the job, or you say the way GRA is wild that MTN should pay, Talo should pay, China Mall should pay. Give GRA a target and say, GRA, raise property rates of X billion. They will collect it.
Charlie, but speaking of which, Charlie,
they will collect it.
The GRA people, last time I met them in some van with the hazard on. You see, Charlie, they are going somewhere. They are targeting. If you see them, they put them in this Toyota Haze or Nissan over something. Charlie, they are wearing the vest.
I will say, without going into all the details, they should do it for Ghana. Collect the money. No. This one, when I was in school, when we go for Intako, they say, Yafe, they should go, collect it. So to the extent that it is money that is due us, collect it. If we give, so maybe let me put that out there for you guys. Do we bring GRA into the property rate collection, or do we
keep them
out?
Okay,
now let me ask, which is easier?
The assemblies.
Which is easier in the current state of having assemblies that are non-functional with institutions
that non-functional?
Oh, they are not. You came and told me that in your house, in front of your house, there's a barber shop, there's a beer bar, there's a harlot issue, there's a church.
Yeah.
I mean,
if there's a harlot
something. If
that calf crawler.
If your assembly were working,
I mean biblical this morning.
Akoto. If your assembly,
all this wouldn't be happening.
So the question is, which is easier or which is more sustainable? Do we bring property rate under the GRA national? Or do we say the assemblies must be empowered to do it? Now, I feel that the way we've increased the number of assemblies and weakened them systematically, I think we have, based on policy and practice, weakened the capacity of our assemblies to the extent that, think about it, they don't even have budget to do their own spraying. Somebody procures spraying and does it for them, fumigation. All right, a lot of things are done for them at the national level. Now, if you can fumigate for them nationally, why don't you collect property rate nationally?
But that's what I'm saying, that it's the center that has incapacitated the assemblies themselves. If, like you're saying, if they had the practice or the habit of doing some of these things for themselves over the years, they would be a bit more efficient in how they go about these things, because frankly, they would have a lot more experience in doing this. But everything has been done from the center. And also, for me, honestly, if GRA collects all the money and it goes to the center, Charlie, disbursement.
But let's collect the money. Let's collect the money first. Let me give you something.
I'll ask you. We will not collect the money first. So, this country disbursement.
But see, it will reduce our deficit. It will. You see.
But you are thinking about it in that regard. But the assemblies will also need the monies to do things with. You are thinking about deficit. We also need the money to do things down there.
But at this rate, we've not collected it. So why are we fighting over? We are fighting over uncollected money.
No.
It's really funny.
Let me tell
we
you
are sitting here. We haven't collected the money. And let me give you the estimate before. So I am on the individual bondholders and the technical committee that the finance ministry set up. They did a joint work, and in their calculation, they did something they call fiscal adjustments. Right now, under the fiscal adjustments, I'm going for what paragraph is this? Good, fantastic. Point D. Okay, they said expedite reforms to enforce property taxes with landed properties of circa 2.2 million in Ghana using the population and housing census. We anticipate that achieving an average annual rate of 1,000 cedis per property at a collection efficiency of 50% will yield the government over 1.1 billion cedis in revenue.
But there has to be a little sophistication to this, because, you see, again, I'll use my Ablekuma West example. Previously, if I were being charged, let's say, 400 cedis, which is woefully inadequate, of course. This hypothetical, right? For living in Dansuman Estate, as it was then. Can you come and tell me that for the Dansuman Estate I live now, where I am boarded by the brothel, the church, the carport, and the baby restaurant in front there, you are telling me to pay more for an area whose value you have, by your actions or inactions, diminished value for, as compared to perhaps say I live in the airport, cantonments, wherever, which has been able to keep a semblance of its original designation or its original zoning. And so if you say you are increasing it based on A, B, C, D, they might understand.
I think the easiest question to ask you is, if you are renting that 5-bedroom house, how much would you rent it for? I'll give you an example. I went to a house in Jowlu. It was a 5-bedroom house. And they said they were going to charge me $2,000
a month.
What's the view like?
Do you know when an every man says Afonika logo? No, I just disappeared. But that $2,000 a month, multiply 2 times 12, $24,000 a month. 24 times 10.
$24,000. Okay, yeah.
Dollars. Yeah, that's 24 a year.
Yeah.
Multiply that by the dollar exchange rate. So let's assume it's 10. So that's what? 240,000 cedis a year. Go for it. The calculation of the bond rate is that the average property rate is 1,000. Now this guy is getting 240,000 cedis a year for his property. Right? Now, if you say property rate should even be 10, okay, let's assume it's 5% of his annual rental income. 5% of this, that's 1,400. Oh, you know so? Or okay, I'm mistaken. 1,400, right? Because 1,400. So it's even still higher than the average.
Yeah.
So I think it's realistic to say the average calculation is 1,000. I think the main question is, right, you are in Dansoman. You will say to Dansoman people, you haven't done anything for me. So I feel the legitimacy of the assembly will be, the assemblies that do a lot can charge a lot.
Yes.
So maybe I'm tilted to your argument where you say, let the assemblies collect it. Because if the Dansoman people are not doing anything for you, they won't even have the boldness to come and say, give me property rate. But if you give it to centralized collection, they have the capacity, they have the bullion vans, they have the...
But they are just collecting.
But Sky, can't we use a formula in Parliament to say, let GRA, because they know how to collect money, collect it. And so 5% of 240 is 12,000. It's not even...
don't worry, we're all not mathematicians.
So it's 12,000. And that 12,000 is more than the 1,000, but let me not divert myself. So my point is that this person wanted to charge me $2,000 a month for a 5-bedroom house in Jowlu, which is not too far from the place I you know. If he was to pay 5% of that per annum, this is his rental income. It's 12,000 cedis.
Yeah.
Right now, he doesn't even pay anything. Now, if Ayawaso Assembly says they're going to collect even 1,000 cedis, I don't know if they have the system in place to track it.
Yes.
Don't give you receipts. So, you see, I'm saying that. Whereas your point about legitimacy is critical, Sky can come and say, okay, GRA has they have the law. If GRA wants to do a swoop on Jowlu and collect 1,000 cedis,
so they'll go to every house.
They'll do it. And then they'll put the money, because they have a proper ticketing system. Then it comes to Parliament, and then Parliament use a formula. So they can say, based on the collection of each district, Parliament can use a formula to redistribute it in your DACF. Because, you see, government is arguing over money uncollected. My feeling is that the local people, because the system is so corrupt, they are not able. I mean, GRA is taking on MTN. It's taking on Talu, which means GRA has the capacity. They have the lawyers, they have the economists, they have the... Do you understand? They have the system in place. I mean, you can bring a revenue officer from GRA to come and sit here and interview him, and you explain to you all the things about taxes, because they have the people. If you go to Ayawaso West and you take the revenue officer, Charlie, you know me, some of them have been inherited by the DCs, was put there by some political party person. So some of them may not be that good. So I feel that if you want to really solve the problem of collecting this money, it's like, Sky, don't they charge us Get Fund when we go and buy food? And then they use the Get Fund and NHIS levy to give back to NHIS. It's in arrears, okay? But at least they collect it. Okay? GRA has found a way of collecting the money first. The assemblies don't know how to collect the money. And even if they collect it, they'll put it in a leaking bowl, because there's so much corruption in the assembly.
So if that's the case, then why don't we re-engineer the system to have an element or a part of your property rate in your daily transaction? For example, you mentioned NHIL, you mentioned Get Fund.
Yeah.
Nobody escapes those two.
Because they are consumption taxes.
I get it.
They are indirect taxes.
They are indirect taxes. So, I'm just thinking aloud, just looking at the discussion we are having and how we can find a way of making.
But you see, this is good. You see, GRA went to China more. They went on the Splinter Road and said, in fact, this is what they did. They went to sit in the market.
Good.
And they said, you don't worry. We are sitting with our paper.
And we are checking.
When they checked, the revenue increased by over 200%.
Yes.
In the period that they did that thing. Number two, a house doesn't have legs.
Of course.
So a house, if GRA decides that we are doing systematically, or you see, there are two possibilities. GRA can say, we are going to recruit and train. How many district assemblies do we have? 200 and what?
16.
Good. We are going to train 1,200 revenue officers, and we are going to give 3 per district. These people are going to train them as GRA officials, and we are not going to pay them any salary. We are going to say, this is how you are going to value, or this is our valuation. It's like the benchmark value. We are going to value certain houses. A 2-bedroom house in Jowulu. And you see, they will do the work with the background because the agents will tell you how much it costs.
Yeah.
2-bedroom house in Abilinkpe, if it goes for $1,200 per month, we will use that as a proxy to say per annum, you are getting 12 times 12, 144.
144.
Okay. That 144, we are taking 5% as property rate, whether you like it or not. And we'll move from house to house and collect it.
I disagree again, Bernard.
Don't collect it.
No. You see, I insist on my initial point.
That the assemblies should collect.
Leave this with the assemblies.
They are more corrupt than the government.
No. Than GRA. Bernard, what are you talking about? Forget. Yes. Bernard, forget. Yes. Bernard, forget. This your belief is misplaced.
Yes.
Let me come.
The assemblies don't give receipt.
Bernard, let Fred. Hold on.
No.
Calm down.
No.
Bernard,
This one, I agree with you.
But I'm going to give you an example. Bernard, put the whoever runs Kofodia on the line.
Yes.
Put whoever runs Hohoi on the line.
Yeah.
And find out how come their property rate collection is at the level that it is at. And why they are so good at it.
Why? Kofodia and Hohoi, what have they done?
Because they collect it properly.
How do they collect it?
That's what I'm saying. So put the people who run it on the line.
I don't know them.
That's why we have a producer.
But wait, you obviously know something I don't.
Yeah,
so tell me what you're trying to tell me.
The point I am making is that there are good examples of fully functional MCs, municipal assemblies or district assemblies who know how to do this and are doing it well. So I think that we should still encourage them rather than bring in GRA to, as for the center,
hold on. Business. Your center business, the problem
I am not supporting
the problem you want to cure is about the fungibility of money and how when the money gets to GRA, they reallocate it. But I'm saying that your context is that you have a huge deficit. Yesterday, they released your deficit figures. They've gone up again.
Yes.
You need to balance your numbers.
Yes.
So, number two, GRA almost always, they overachieve. If you look at almost every year, GRA what's the target? They say they meet their target. And I'm saying that, you see, as an institution, you can have your misgivings, but we cannot argue that GRA, when they want to collect tax, they collect it.
Yes.
When they have the incentive to do so, they do it.
Yes.
And they have done it to the highest level. I mean, they are taking on global companies.
Certainly.
And they are saying that, and I'm not saying they are right. They are saying MTN owes them 700 million cedis. Or is it dollars? I'm not even sure.
Dollar.
Okay. So what I'm saying is that the average assembly does not have the system that GRA has. I'm talking about system now. So for example, when GRA went to these shops, they had a system where they were, I mean, we've done events where GRA come and sit there and be marking one for one. So when you go to China Mall, you buy a crayon, they will mark. They will reconcile and they will say, the amount of VAT you are supposed to pay is at least this. And they said when they went, everywhere they went, the amount of VAT they were supposed to collect was much more than the people were paying. Which means that the people who are supposed to be paying are also not honest. So in the same way that the person running the shop will be dishonest, in the same way the person who has the property will be lying. So and the assembly doesn't have the impetus because assembly is local. Okay, and Godfred, you are saying that, you see, when we talk about corruption, we are talking about systems. How many assemblies give you proper receipt? People come and clamp your car. They collect, they come and charge you money. Some of them don't even give you receipt. Sometimes the receipt, they don't even have a duplicate. Okay, a lot of people in assemblies have hijacked revenue collection for themselves. But we know that GRA, look at the caliber of people who are put as GRA board chairman. Professor Stephen Ade. After that, they put Tonyo Tinjesi. The caliber of people who run GRA and the level of experience they have tells you that it's a very serious institution.
Oh, of course.
And I'm saying that if we want to collect property rate, and using the experience that these bondholders have given us, 2.2 million properties across the country, right? The average, it is for me, the issue of centralizing the collection of money, Parliament can cure that, because Parliament is able to use the finance committee to decide on what to cap and what not to cap. Sky, am I lying?
Let me read something.
So I'm saying that we can cure the central the problem you are seeing with an effect, and it's easier than to say we are hoping that all 214 assemblies
16.
They won't, because do you know why they won't? I take you back to the way they were appointing MCs. You remember we got a document.
Yes.
That the General Secretary of MPP was supposed to have authored.
Yes.
With a committee.
Yes.
What was
explaining the
Sky?
Yes.
You were not in Ghana. The basis for choosing MC
was that they knew the tripod.
They were the party. Some of them are suffering for the party. Some of them, when we didn't give them MP, they didn't oppose. There wasn't even much about competence. They were talking about the loyalty to the party.
Yes.
So you are flooding the place with people whose only understanding of policy is that it's our turn to come to power.
But that is at the top. Unless
if the MC
assembly, the local governance system is so rotten that minus the political appointees, there is no structure that works.
If the basis,
that's what you're saying.
Yes, am I saying that if the basis,
is that the point you're making?
I'm saying that if the basis for appointing the MC is just partisanship and loyalty, and not competence and track record, how do you expect him to oversee a working system? Meanwhile, mind you, in Ghana, leadership is personalized. So you can't appoint an incompetent MC and expect the system to work because most of the institutions that work in Ghana are working because the CEOs and the MC, the chief executives have insisted that certain things happen. The government agencies that you admire, the ones that you see are doing well, it's because of the people running it. It's not as if they've set up some system that's working. So if you are appointing 216 MCs based on partisan consideration, there's no way they are going to run a well-oiled revenue collection machine. Do you get me? And I'm saying GRA have the resources. They have the men and the women. GRA have the track record.
This track record matter.
I mean,
this track record matter.
I mean, GRA. Are you telling me the GRA?
Hey, Bernard, GRA.
Oh, please. I think that of most of the government agencies, let's put emotions aside.
I'm not being emotional.
If we interview them here, they know their work. We are not saying that they are the best institution in Ghana. Let them give you let an average GRA revenue officer at the national level. I'm not talking about what happens in the assemblies. At the national level, probably a chartered accountant or somebody who has done his tax work. They know the law. They always come with the laws. And they will explain what the law means.
But who are those who collect money at the local assembly level? Everybody. Just
no, the same way they go and sit at China Mall to collect the money.
Yes.
They will find people to go and sit there.
No, but I don't get it. I'm saying that the people at the China Mall, they're not chartered accountants, are they?
Yeah, but they are supervised by chartered accountants. So these chartered accountants who are supervising these money collectors at China Mall will find the way of putting up a system that will collect the money.
I'm saying at the district level, they also have professionals, don't they?
No.
We've sat here. You and I have sat on this program and have gone through the makeup of the human beings who are supposed to work at the district level.
The assemblies are suffering. The assemblies
from human resource issues.
Yes, where human resources, not people in positions, but the right people.
Certainly.
The assemblies are struggling. Go meet a DCE. Look, I can't. It's not everything I can say. We have a friend we will call. Some guy used to do very well in his area. Then he went to do politics. He didn't win MP. They made him MC. Suddenly, some days, I said, brother, man. I can't use the record. I can't use the word on air. He said, my brother, stop. Because some of the people there, you came to meet them. The local government service is there. You cannot sack the people. And they don't care. They are not thinking about reform. Our local governance system is very difficult too. That's why people are even talking about voting. You see, people think that if you vote for the people, like in the same way you're able to make your MC hot, why do you think Tampuli went to put in a newspaper that he has built
something there?
If he didn't build it. If he lies, so you see, the only people who are accountable to the people are the people who have voted. But that's a different argument for today. If you are appointed by the president to sit at that Gushehu place, how come they are not telling the man the president appointed at Gushehu to build them the hospital? And it's Tampoli who is building it. Is it Tampoli's job? Because Tampoli came to them for votes. You see? Meanwhile, the guy who controls the budget that has been allocated to the place is sitting somewhere. And Hassan Tampoli has left his deputy minister work and is building a maternity ward because he wants votes. So I'm saying that the district assembly thing is too bizarre. But if you can properly value the properties,
who will do the valuation? GRA.
I even think
it's not the local assembly.
No, they've done some.
No, it's not the hold on.
They've actually done some.
You see, you're not coming. You will end up at my doorstep.
I won't.
No, who is doing the valuation of the property?
I remember when we interviewed
the local assembly.
No, they are working through. They are supervised by. I don't know. I'll check.
Yeah, because
the valuation is done by the Lands Commission.
Thank you.
No.
Thank you. There's even a Lands Valuation Board.
Because the zoning and categorization of residential, economic,
but it's not left in their hands.
No. But they are the vehicle through which that is done.
You live
right?
in Dansoman. There are 2 churches behind your house. There's a brothel next door. Somebody is frying egg. Somebody is trying to do a filling station. And these people, this is dysfunction. The people, honestly, you still have confidence in this system?
No, I don't.
And even Dansoman is supposed to be one of the best too.
They are collecting money from them, are they not?
How much?
When
was the last time? When was the last time the assembly did anything significant apart from that evening thing that George Bray came to do there? They came to do some evening street bazaar. When was the last time they came to do any proper asphalting or any upgrading of cleaning of drains or any proper thing spraying? When was the last time they came to do any major thing in your area that you see that actually assembly is working? They are really claiming land in Otojo and selling land over land. Is that what you want? Is that the kind of thing you want to collect your money? Go to Otojo, go to Begbese, go to Glefe, go to the places that you go and play football in your area, and you are telling me that these people should be going to collect these 1,000 cedis? No, I'd rather trust GRA. They have direct, and I'll tell you this, Sky, correct me if I'm wrong. Every finance minister, every finance minister in Ghana. So I'll say the president's most important appointment is his finance minister. The finance minister's most important agency is the GRA boss. You can ask. The finance ministers don't joke with who is GRA boss, because if they don't collect revenue, nothing comes in. So you can't have a finance minister who, I'm sure if you take the GRA boss's phone, the finance minister calls him more than everybody else. And I'm saying that the GRA is an institution of extremely competent people. Give them the task, give them the power, they'll collect the money. They use parliament to decide how they use the money, because that's what parliament is there for. But this is your 2x4 assembly that has been destroyed and damaged by politics, to go and collect which money and put where, in which account,
and use it there.
My brother,
for the money to go to the center and come back.
All right, we're going to bring you a couple of quick mentions. Then we'll bring you tech and social media trends. And then all right, so and by the way, this is for sake of argument. So if you have more insights and you feel you can correct us, let us know. I'm sure the answer is somewhere in the middle, right? So, but this is Godfred and myself taking a position to try and see if we can distill the male facts. So let's know where you stand on this. But in the meantime, CalBank is proud to associate with Second Media.
Yes, CalBank is saying that reactivate your Cal account and get more value. Get access to their short code *771# CalNet and the CalBank app. CalBank, forward together.
All right, so let's get in right now. What's trending?
Things, if you go through the trends, gold for oil is trending.
Still?
It looks like the conversations will not end anytime soon. So you have gold for oil. You also have Sarkodia trending. Alpha Hour is trending. Quite interesting. Several people are plugging.
But there's also Alpha Lotto.
There's also, but they are not.
It's not trending. There's Alpha Hour is trending. Alpha Lotto is also trending. Charlie, I went to my village recently. I saw Alpha Lotto. It was popular. You know Alpha Lotto? That is take and rough. You understand Alpha Lotto?
No.
This is our home Lotto. Yeah, our own domestic Lotto. I got a voter everywhere. Alpha Lotto. Hey, my brother.
Never doubt you, machine.
I tell you.
So those are some of the things that are trending. On a sporting note,
Chelsea has to be trendy.
No, there are names like Bernardo Silva are trending.
Where is he going?
Nobody knows, because nobody knows where he is going.
But is Cancelo leaving?
Cancelo, well, he has handed in a request, and he was in Munich yesterday.
Oh, he's leaving.
He's going to do a medical at Bayern Munich.
Which Ghanaian has moved? Is it Semenyo?
Semenyo has gone to Bournemouth.
Antoine
Semenyo has gone to
Nice
Bournemouth.
one.
In terms of tech news, though, quite interesting tech news coming in. Now, the BBC is reporting that they've done a report, and it says children are being exposed to online pornography from as early as 9 years old. That's according to a study for the Children's Commissioner for England.
You know, this weekend I disconnected the internet in the house. I think I was led by the Spirit of God. Because I just felt, Charlie, we have to deactivate the internet. They should just read storybooks. I think that's what we have to do. Yes.
And then
they can kick and scream, but they will deactivate.
And then another bit of tech news:
Screen
the
time
U.S.
is too
government has stopped approving licenses for American firms to export most items to Chinese tech giant Huawei.
So they are still doing this
So
fight.
it looks like the trade war is still on.
Oh Lord! Tech and social media trends brought to you by Carl Bank and Vodafone.
Babe, so what are we doing tomorrow?
Oh, I have to go to the bank and go and pay for the stuff for my place. Then maybe back to the bank to transfer what's left to my brother. So
Are you serious? You're going to the bank twice in one day? Who is she?
And his wife as well.
And what's their names do they use?
They use Kusibuating.
So they don't use Kwabena Edu-Gyamfi?
No.
Could it be, and have you thought of the possibility that this Kwabena Edu-Gyamfi person is not and may not be even related to Kosi Boateng in any way, and that maybe this is just sheer coincidence?
No. It's him. It's him. I have the diplomatic passport here. I've tracked his travels. I have videos.
And the biometrics prove that it's the same human being.
Kwabena Edu-Gyamfi at work. Yes, the biometrics prove that it's him. It's him. And that is why. Simple questions. All these statements, after I will go to Shraj, and then after Shraj, I'll take him on. Just state the facts now. Last Sunday, he says, when you are going up, demons would disturb you. I don't know which app. Is it up the, mysterious ladder, fraudulent ladder, corruption ladder? I don't know which app. Because it's a simple matter. So I am Reverend Victor Kusibuating. I'm not the same person as Kwabena Edu-Gyamfi. I have one date of birth.
Simple.
He has not done that. I have one mother. Simple.
So he has two mothers according to your record?
Yes, because when he was filling for these things, because he wanted to outwit the GRA, and you see, all these institutions should be issuing statements now, carrying out internal investigations and telling us, how is it that they have been so, or is it that they are complicit? I mean, how did they take advantage of them so easily? GRA, Registrar General's Department, Passport Office, DVLA. How did this happen? Yes. Let me be clear, Umaru. This is not an agenda against the church. I am not seeking to bring down a religion that I will be nobody without. I mean, I have said time without number that, where will I be without Christianity? Believe in, the saving power, the salvation grace of Jesus the Christ. All those who know me from my school days. Professor Okwe has said time without number. Anytime he's been chairing the house, and when we've had banters, he'll remind me about my, Sunday school days when he will hand over to me to take over, and preach the gospel. And in SU, Presec, I rose to become the vice president. Everybody knows I was the head of the evangelical team. So I'm not a pagan.
So I'll get to that.
I'm not anti-Christ or whatever they say. That whole conceptualization, personal pledge to God, you should pursue a personal pledge as a personal pledge. And that's why you won't find it in the MPP manifesto. You won't find it in any of the budgets. There was no parliamentary approval. So when you say a personal pledge, and you even call the clergy, you know that there are some of the eminent, respected clergy of our country who have even bent their fingers, because somebody like Archbishop Duncan Williams, who I revere, I hold in high esteem, went public that he's received full assurance from the president. We are not coming after your taxes. So everybody shut up. Reverend Joyce Aye, viewers can Google. she also put her credibility on the line. We are not going to use taxes. It's the president's personal pledge. He has invited the Christian community to support, and that's what we are doing. You remember James Kwabena Bonfe went to the Supreme Court that, hey, I sense that we are going to open the floodgates. Should the president be spearheading a national cathedral project? What if the Muslims say we want a national mosque from taxes? What if they traditionally say that
So that
we want
accountability at the local level.
a national
Your views are
shrine?
welcome. Before we go there, Nathan has a couple of things to say quickly.
Yeah, the football never stops with Showmax Pro. Watch the best live games from the Premier League, Europa League, La Liga, Serie A, and more live from Supersport on Showmax Pro. Sign up to watch the world's best football and the greatest local and entertainment or international entertainment, all from $59.99 a month on Showmax Pro. Subscribe at showmax.com. Now, if you're a parent and this is the time to go to school, be happy. Prospectus Ghana is introducing a new short code, star 447 star 899 hash, to help parents or guardians make installment payments towards items required for the award school admission. Use it. It's safe and convenient. You can find Prospectus Ghana on the Graphic Road opposite Toyota Ghana, or call them on 0500 600 607. Prospectus Ghana, your one-stop shop for all school items and stationery. Now, this year's Enterprise Motor Insurance promo there is different. Obia there will simply buy or renew your motor insurance with Enterprise and win instant gifts such as fuel coupons, branded gift items, or you qualify for the monthly raffle draws with amazing rewards. You can get in touch with your insurance broker or agent, or visit any Enterprise branch for your motor insurance and get free fuel coupons and be the possible winner of amazing rewards in the monthly draws between January and June. T's and C's apply. Enterprise, your advantage. Now, do you need to go somewhere quickly and safely without spending so much? Book your rides on Little App and enjoy a 50% discount on your next 3 rides up to 30 cedis. You also get 15 cedis off your first trip. So download the Little App from the App Store or the Google Play Store now. Little App, truly African.
And of course, every time you eat, food and sugars are trapped between our teeth, leading to tooth decay, gum disease, and other things. Now, brushing your teeth every morning and night with Pepsodent Cavity Fighter gives your teeth the protection they need, leaving you with 10 times stronger teeth. Pepsodent Cavity Fighter is fortified with pro-fluoride and microcalcium ingredients, sealing tiny and invisible holes in your teeth. Pepsodent is recommended by the GDA, and there are 2 other highly effective variants. We have the Pepsodent Charcoal, made with a fine blend of activated charcoal and lemon essence, and then Pepsodent Herbal for all herbal lovers. Try these and your teeth will never be the same again. Call toll-free 0800 200 030. Pepsodent, every smile matters. And it's the Imperial Insure and Win promo. From now till end of March, insure a vehicle with Imperial General Assurance and win some handsome rewards. We're talking about instant rewards, fuel coupons, gift vouchers, special souvenirs, and more. And Imperial is also giving you a free 1-year life insurance cover as part of your motor insurance cover. So get it double from Imperial General. Call 0302-788-955 or talk to any of our agents across the country. Imperial General, solid protection. Get a caveman watch for that special person as Valentine approaches. We're giving a whopping 50% discount on the cost of customizing a name inside any of our exquisite luxury watches for a purchase above 2,000 cedis. Go to at Caveman Watches or call 055-751-6744 or visit cavemanwatches.com or come to our factory on the Ajirigano Road adjacent to the new AstroTurf. And if you are from UK or Atlanta, Georgia, USA, vacation in Ghana or Nigeria, or you have family and friends in the UK or Georgia, then OA Pay is for you. Now, download the OA Pay app and get to send as much as £5,000 or $5,000 in a single transfer to Ghana or Nigeria, and up to £400 via our app without KYC documents. OA Pay also offers instant, seamless transfers of up to £50,000 for corporate registered users. Share the good news about this completely Ghanaian-owned remittance platform exclusive for the African diaspora with your family and friends. OA Pay is fast, safe, and convenient. Use the coupon OACT, and get extra bonus of 55 cedis or 500 naira on your first transfer. Call +440 333 77 22310. That's +440 333 772 2310. Or go to info@oneafrica.io for enquiries. OAP, send it mommy. Or send the mommy. Send the mommy.
Hey.
Send the mommy. I didn't see it.
Where, Bruni?
Charlie.
Yes.
Let's read.
You have messages,
yes.
and then the clarification on the GRA.
In fact, let me let Sky read the messages because you.
No, before that, let me just read the document that sets this up.
Okay,
Sky has made me aware that there's a legal backing.
Okay, go ahead.
To this before Sky comes in. So
a legal document then.
Yes. So there's a this from if you go to the GRA website and thank you very much Yofi from Jolu. He also made us aware on this. So it says commencement. It says that commencement of implementation of unified common property rate platform in conjunction with the metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies. It says effective January 1, 2023.
Okay.
The Ghana Revenue Authority will be partnering the metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies in the collection of property rates in the country using a unified common property rate platform.
I didn't even know this.
The unified common property rate platform, also known as myassembly.gov.gh, is a complete end-to-end district revenue collection and administration platform designed to enhance the collection and accounting of property rates. It is also linked to the ghana.gov.gh payment platform. This platform comes with a lot of benefits to property owners and rate payers, such as 1, elimination of cash transactions, payments to staff of assemblies. 2, payment of bills using mobile money, electronic cards, bank payments, etc. 3, full automation of bill distribution, notification and alerts to clients. 4, a self-service portal for reviewing rateable values, rate bills, checking balances, etc. 5, access to real-time reporting of receipts and bills status, among others. All property owners and property rate payers are entreated to use this platform for the payment of property rates. And then it goes on to provide some other information.
So the system is already in place.
The system is in place. So my question is, how will I get the bill? So the assembly gives you a bill, and then you pay via this platform. Is that what will happen? Or this platform also serve you a bill? And
whoever is running this can get in touch. We're also trying to call the Koforidua MC to comment. The views on this are quite mixed because even on my personal phone, some people disagree with me, some people agree with me.
Yeah, plenty here too.
Sky, if you can read some of the comments for me, I'll be very happy.
Okay, so let me take some of the comments coming in. This one is from Nana Giabo from Tema, and he says, "Good morning, guys. GRA is currently assisting in collecting property rate from this year." Yes, that was announced in the budget last year. Bernard, how will the money be used after GRA collects all those amounts of tax?
Parliament will decide.
Well, I mean, so you see, what has been proposed and which some institutions are kicking against is that this common platform collects the money, and then 30% of what is collected gets to go to the district assemblies. Now,
30%.
30%. Now, the concern...
No, 30% goes to GRA. And 70 goes to the district. Yes, 30 goes to GRA.
I've reversed it. Now, what is happening is that it would seem to contradict the position of the law, some people argue, regarding the collection of rates. Because if you look at the Local Government Act, the provisions of... what do you call it? Section 144 deal with who has the authority to set and collect property rate. And Bernard, with your permission, let me just go to that briefly. It says that rating authority rates. Section 144 says that a district assembly shall be the only authority to levy rates for a district despite any customary law to the contrary. It goes on to say that Section 145 says a district assembly shall levy sufficient rates to provide for the total estimated expenditure to be incurred by the district assembly during the period in respect of which
is collecting the rate.
You see, so the general position of the law is that the local assemblies are supposed to collect the money. They set
levy
and collect.
But we can change the law.
Now we have so there is a group campaigning or kicking against it because they believe that what is being proposed violates or flies in the face of the law.
But the law, Sky, this is my view. The law has been there for a long time, and the assemblies are not collecting. So as for law, Parliament can change it. So what we are discussing today is not what is law. We are discussing what is practicable and what is going to solve our problem.
But
the law was made for man and not man for the law.
But
so what I'm saying is that we are not saying that we are going to start collecting the money tomorrow against the law. What we are saying is that based on our knowledge of the way GRA works and the way the assemblies work, what is the most effective way of doing this? When we agree, then we can go to the law and make sure the law aligns.
Okay, so no, hold on.
You are refusing to read the message. Okay. You are still going back to the law.
Let me read the more messages for you before I get back to some of the things I think can be done. This one from you, Fee Joel. We have read that one already. Let's go to this one, which says that, Bernard, everyone is talking about revenue from property rate without talking about the mess the agencies are creating for people. Badly constructed drains or wrongfully channeled ones are flooding our homes. People will pay if they see things done right. It's coming in from Daniel Allen from Medina. This one says that, good morning, Bernard and the CBS team. Wait, they are collecting property rate. Year in, year out, they bring the receipt and we pay. Or not everyone is paying and nothing is happening to those who are not paying. I am confused. That's the question he's asking. Well, it is the case. That's coming in from Amelengpe, Albert in Amelengpe. This one says, Bernard, please forget about GRA people. Majority of their staff are, oh, Charlie, you can't say this. So he's alleging that they are corrupt, especially those within their audit team. They come for audits and monies that should have been paid to the government. They, the team, reduce it drastically in an attempt to take the money personally for themselves. This one is from Solomon in Adenta, says that GRA is about to start collecting property rates using the Unified Property Rates Administration Platform. Yes, we mentioned that much earlier. Kwesi in Accra says that, good morning, Bernard and team. I think the government should hire those guys at Quick Loan. They are too serious. They will throw stones at your roof, on your roof, and disturb you, sir, until you pay the money. This one says, good morning, Bernard and team.
Okay.
That is
GRA.
Okay. What's the meaning of that?
We have done them a great favor.
We know what we want, and to do just that, we are not ready to do the needful. Okay, he says that we know what we want, and to do just that, we are not ready to do the needful. And this one from Fried, is that the name?
Yeah, Godfred.
It says that they're Bernard and team, instead of the GRA or assembly taking the property rates, why doesn't the government automatically debit it from the homeowner's account? How would that be done? That's the question. Every citizen has a TIN number. Lands Commission has a database of homeowners and the banks have TIN numbers on record. I think a proper reconciliation of the above mentioned databases can help us mobilize funds easily. That's a very innovative one. But do they have money in the accounts all the time? Go up. And this one says that,
Let's hear this one.
good morning, Citi CBS.
Morning.
I'm a staff of the local government service in Ghana. I want to draw your attention to the fact that on the issue of property rate collection, as being discussed now, the government of Ghana through the GRA signed an MOU with all the MDAs in Ghana in November 2022,
I agree with that.
as we mentioned earlier, for the GRA to commence property rate collection effective January 2023.
Nice one.
Now, Edem from Lakeside says that, please, what is the rationale behind property rates, especially when it's for a family living in a 2-bedroom house and using the house for only residential purposes?
Hey, this Edem, I know him. Now, once the property has been built, it is a store of value. We will collect the rate so we can use it to bring development, because you live in a house, you use a road to that house, you need water. All the things that you need for that house to function, somebody has to provide it. So paying property rate is normal in every society.
Okay, so let me just, by way of information, talk about the exemptions that the law says that they do not, those properties are not, rateable, if I should use the word. So the following are exempted from assessment and rating. Buildings that are mainly used exclusively for public worship, so these are churches, and have been registered with the district assembly. Again, buildings that are used as public hospitals and clinics are not to be rated. Buildings that have been approved by the Minister of Foreign Affairs and belong to diplomatic missions, and all burial grounds and cemeteries registered by the District Assembly, and all public and charitable educational institutions that have been registered with the District Assembly. So these ones...
The rest can pay. That's why the people use 2.2 million. If you go to the population houses, there are 2.2 million properties.
I was just reading an account academic
So that
paper.
church next door to me, they are not paying.
Well, you have to find out whether.
But I want you to point out that more people agree with me than him.
Okay, let me read further comment.
More people agree with me than him.
Bernard, on this property tax matter, the property tax should be kept at the local assembly.
Yes!
There is a simple solution. GRA can second staff to each district assembly to help manage the collection process. Government institutions do that every time.
Are you sure?
That's one way of dealing with the problem.
This one supports me.
Okay, this one says, good morning, Bernard. I think there's too much corruption at the local assembly level for them to be effective in this revenue mobilization for the government.
Yes.
I applied for a building permit last year, March, and although my documentations are correct, and I have even paid for my permit, the permit has not been issued as of now, with the reason that I need to give the senior men in quotes something before they will sign the certificate.
Look at that.
With this, I doubt if people would want to pass through the process for their properties to be registered for effective tax payments. This one is a very long one that says, good morning, Bernard and team. Property rate in Ghana is regulated by the Local Government Act.
Law. We are thinking of, you see, we are not saying we are not aware. You see, don't get me wrong. What we are doing here is to think of the most effective way of governance. The law is a tool that we use to regulate the way we live. The law is natural law. Natural law is what is given. Law is what you work in Parliament for almost 17 years. You can decide to change my sleeping place by law.
Yeah.
So people should not look at development. So one of the things that we look at is law can be used as a tool for development. So if, for example, you believe that...
It's actually a tool for social engineering.
Fantastic. So if you believe, based on research and practice, that the best way to organize society is for the GRA to collect it, you go to Parliament and sell the idea to them. If they believe it, through whatever bill you put, they will agree. So,
which is what they've done.
So for me, when people keep telling me the law says, the law was not given to us by God like that.
Yeah, better.
We created the law. No, I'm just trying to establish the point. So I'm not demeaning the law. I'm saying that when we are discussing how to engineer society for it to work based on a 30-year-old democracy, stop pushing law into my face as if the law is on its own a development tool. The law is based on our understanding at the time we wrote it. So if there's new understanding about how to organize society, these people will go to Parliament and will say, why not? We'll change it. The thresholds can be changed. The law can be removed. And there are spaces for repeal. So for me, this laws, the law says, it's not where I'm going. I'm saying that what works? What works? If the thing doesn't work,
I agree with you.
Okay, so let me just, yes, you have made a valid point, but let me just push back a little. You see, the reason we are complaining is the lack of enforcement of the Local Governance Act. Because all the things I've read now, people are complaining about people stealing the money. There's corruption in the system. People are not accounting for the money. Sometimes the assemblies are not collecting the money. The law as it is imposes obligations on the various district assemblies. And there's a minister responsible for local government. And his job is to ensure that all the municipal district and the metropolitan assemblies comply with all the requirements of law. And if you go to the provisions of the law, the local assemblies are to collect, they are to set, and they are to work with the Lands Commission to determine the values of the various lands. And they have a complete database of all the properties registered within their respective assemblies. So they know where the properties are. And it is their job to determine how much they are to collect. And where that determination cannot be made for some reason, they are to set a flat rate for the purposes of collecting, the needed revenue. Now, if you, as an assembly, how you are to run, the law says collect the money and use it for your purpose.
Are you unable to collect?
But you are not able to do it, then you are equally a part of the problem.
Thank you.
Because the law even requires that where you are a tax collector, a rate collector in the assembly, you go and you overcharge someone. If you look at the provisions of the law says that that person is to be prosecuted for overcharging someone. Again,
if you undercharge.
One of your knowledge bases as a journalist and a lawyer is that in Ghana, a lot of laws in this country are not implemented. So even though the law exists and the law enjoins them to do these things, there is no enforcement.
So you see, Bernard, so what we should be talking about is insisting that the local government people enforce the law.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. The local government people, you see, that I'm not arguing. The local government people are the wrong people to do anything. Because you are saying, we are saying that, I am saying they can't even collect the property rate. The person has no incentive to collect the property rate. Who tells you has the incentive to go and enforce any law? He's part of the problem. So I am saying that start the design of the solution from what already works. You didn't take GRA to court to go to sit at China Mall. GRA looked at the deficit, they looked at the budget, and they said, oh yeah, let's go and collect money.
Yeah, that's why
I'm saying that the people who at the local level are not implementing the law cannot be trusted to implement the law.
Okay, you see, Bernard, the same problems we are talking about concerning the local government people, the same problems apply when it comes to the GRA. They connive. Some of them connive a lot of the times with managers of companies.
Yeah, we know that, but I'm saying that on a general level. No, we are saying that we agree. But I'm saying that generally speaking, the GRA, and nobody has argued with this point. GRA has always, if you look at their records, they've almost always over.
Because they set the levels low. Who doesn't know that if you go to the port, there's a lot of undervaluation of goods that are coming in? Under declaration, and many of these problems. Why did President Mill go to the the Tema port? He went there because records that have been submitted to him, work done by ANAS, revealed the fact that billions upon billions of Ghana cedis were being stolen.
But we are saying that, Sky, I agree with you, but see, I think we are trying to decipher between which is a more effective collector of revenue. I am not saying GRA is a perfect institution, but I'll find it difficult for you to tell me that
the assembly,
even with all GRA's faults, local assemblies are more effective in collecting revenue than GRA. That's not true.
Bernard,
this is not
true. The issue is capacity. The issue is capacity. If the law says that you should do A, B, C, D,
yes,
the law on its own will not do that.
Yes.
It is about providing the needed tools to get the institution to work.
So let me ask you a question. If you are a president of a country and you have 4 years to raise revenue, a year to raise revenue, what is the most expedient thing to do? In the circumstance you find yourself, you have 216 assemblies. There will be pressure on you to appoint a lot of them from your party.
Yeah.
You may want to vote, you want them to vote for yourself, but you need to do a referendum for that to happen. Yet you have to meet your deficit in a year. I think that pragmatically, what they are doing is correct. You see, you can separate centralized collection from decentralized spending, because the process of collection of revenue is not the same as the process of spending. So when we talk about fiscal policy, there's revenue and expenditure, right? You can there's nothing that enjoins you to have them both collected centrally. So from a pragmatic perspective, and I'm sounding like a broken record, from a pragmatic perspective, you do what you need to do to raise the revenue.
You see, while I agree with you on the overall point about the GRA is better compared to the others, I'm saying that there's also a huge amount of suppression at the GRA level, which in itself makes them an inefficient tax collection institution. And this matter has come up repeatedly before the PAC, before the Finance Committee, and at the plenary of Parliament.
But what is the alternative? In Ghana today,
let me just finish.
Okay, Sky, we have the big four accounting firms. We have GRA, we have Registrar General, all these people, and a controller. The GRA is still the best in that space that we have now. Right? We can work to improve the GRA, but it's easier to change. So, for example, if you're a president of a country, you can put a more trusted person in charge of GRA than to find 216 people that you're going to put in charge of assemblies and hope they will change. So, I still think it's easier to reform the GRA than to inform 216 assemblies.
You know what I
Because
think?
the assemblies have so many local dynamics that are way beyond the control of a central government.
Do you know what I think? Let me just make this point. I defer to you on what you believe is the way forward. But you see, I will push back on the basis that, for instance, when I was in the UK, a student, I'm not supposed to pay council tax. So by mistake, the accommodation I was occupying in the heart of London, they sent me notification that I was to pay. I was busy dealing with exam matters, so I didn't look at the notification. So a couple of weeks later, I received, summons from the courts in the UK that I am to appear before the district court
in person.
Yeah, that's right, in person, and to explain why I should not be committed for having defied a council order asking me to pay my student
Some people are serious with their council.
Yeah, that's right. So I read it.
Some people think their council seriously.
So 2 weeks after. Yeah, that's right. Apparently, the thing, a number of them came. Jesus. I didn't see them. So when I cleared my letterbox, and many of them. So at that point, it was obvious that I was going to be Charlie. I will be saying my lord. So quickly, I spoke with the appropriate solicitors, and then they said, okay, I should, apply to the school to get an exemption
because you're a student.
Because I was a student,
and then attach the exemption
exactly, and send it to the the local assembly, and then after that, then appear in person. So
you must enter appearance.
Exactly. You understand?
You must enter appearance.
So I quickly applied to the school. The school got back to me, wrote a letter certifying that I was a student, and then I forwarded a letter plus the application for exemption to the local assembly. The local assembly, the head of legal, got back to me and said that, okay, at this stage, that it was no longer necessary that they will proceed to court on the matter, and that I should enter some details, which details were entered, and that was the end of the matter.
So this beautiful thing you described,
exactly.
If you come to Ghana, between GRA and the OSU Assembly, who can do it?
Bernard, you see, that is where I'm coming to. That, you see, every year, you have many lawyers graduating from the Ghana School of Law.
Okay.
The question is, why is it that in all the 217 or so assemblies, sometimes it is even hard to find a lawyer working within the system as to advise or as to deal with matters like this? So that the job of the collectors is to go out there to serve notice that you are to pay. If you refuse to pay 2 weeks or 1 month later, it is the job of the lawyer in that department to write to you to say that, my friend, if you don't do A, B, C, D, consistent with the Local Government Act, I am going to initiate a process of prosecuting.
But you do recognize that the system that you just described has more than just lawyers involved. Because, for example,
that's true.
Somebody sent you the letters. Somebody made sure you got the letter every day or every week or whatever. Somebody was keeping track of the fact that he had not replied. Somebody obviously had calculated that this was the amount you owed, and then advised the lawyer to go to court. And even when you wanted to remedy the situation, it was not just lawyers who were involved. So my point is, all the people involved in this process that you described, our assemblies either don't have them or don't have them in the right quality.
That's where I was talking about capacity building.
But so I'm saying that by the GRA now could have done that.
You see, so then what would then be the
They do it to companies.
No, I understand that. You see, let us not overburden, I believe, the GRA, because already what they have been given by law to do, they are doing it, but not efficiently. And in fact, there's so much corruption in there. We should not add the collection of property raised to their already existing burdens. Because if you do that, what happened? What are the assemblies going to be doing?
They are working with the assemblies. So the project that they are describing is not on their own. They are not, let me use your word, they are not suo-moto going to collect the property rate.
They are working
It's a partnership. They are bringing their expertise in revenue collection to the assembly's understanding of local, and they are even saying that it's 30-70.
And I think that
I think it's a brilliant solution.
And I
so
think
30 to Sky. Honest, you see, I think let's design solutions to solve our problems.
You don't know what we are waiting for. And every time I tell Bernard this, next fantastic solution you have. You know the problem.
What's happening?
What?
January.
May. We will interview the district assemblies.
What would they say?
Who will tell you they don't have money? We will call GRA and the finance ministry, who will tell us that they are still working out the calculation. We do 70-30, but they are still working it out. So
no, but Godfrey, that would
the money will not get
disbursed because GRA already. Sorry, the assemblies already don't have money because there's a delay in the payment.
That's district assembly common funds, so it doesn't come.
So no, but you see, this is the thing I keep saying.
No, but how it is supposed to if they are
gentlemen,
it is available money.
You are arguing over money still uncollected.
But that's why I am saying.
And I'm saying that you see, Godfrey, the problem you are describing is even funny because
why?
If the state that we are in like this, without doing the GRA solution continues, in May they don't have any money. Now, if the solution that they have proposed is implemented, in May they will have money undistributed, which is better. to not have money. See, there's something we do in Citi called collection.
Bernard.
I'm coming. You have something called billings, collection, and then recoveries.
Oh, yes.
So my point is that the current state, they haven't even billed you. So you are sitting in Dansoman. Nobody has brought you anything to collect.
No, they have.
Maybe you have, but some places they have not. In some places they have not. Now, even if they have, they haven't found an efficient way of collecting it.
But they collect some.
Good.
So they get some money.
But the amount
that functional.
But by GRA coming on board, so what they are doing is they're satisfying. They are not collecting enough to do anything with it. If GRA comes on board, there will be an increase in how much is collected. If you increase the pot of how much is collected, that's why I'm saying that all of what I'm saying is that the design of the disbursement is in the remit of Sky.
Bernard, you see, they have been in charge of local government, district assembly common fund collection and distribution. And to a large extent, we see a mess being made of it. Delays in how to release it and all. As we speak, the local assembly, they are complaining. They are complaining. The central government collects the money. It is not like the money is not collected, but they misuse it or misapply it to things that the law says you should not apply it to. MPs are taking a share of it. In fact, people say that constitutionality of that is in doubt.
Is in doubt.
Exactly. And they take it to other agencies. Okay. And when they ask them, where's the money? They say, we are working on releasing.
Can I ask you a question?
Ask.
How many assemblies in Ghana have IGF higher than DACF? If we can find that, then I'll be convinced. If that number is even 40%, then I'll be inclined to agree.
Let me give you a quick
example.
If
they are IG, because my argument is that most of the assemblies IGF is too low. One reason is that the assemblies don't have enough capacity to collect the revenue. Some assemblies are not viable.
Let's build the capacity. And you see, Bernard, I was reading an academic paper a short while ago when you were having your discussion. That paper estimates that if the AMA alone was working properly, it should be able to generate in excess of 2 billion Ghana cedis for the purposes of running its operations from property rates. Why is the AMA benefiting from district assemblies common fund?
Because they don't have the capacity.
You see, Bernard, that is where the problem is. So we should build capacity. And the point I made about
build capacity. It's a very serious thing to say because it has led to people misusing budget in the name of capacity building.
But Bernard, you see,
how do you build capacity? You build capacity by learning from the best. So if I say GRA officials should partner with local assemblies to do a 30-70 partnership, is capacity building. Capacity building is not necessarily going to Gimbal. So when you say build capacity, you're actually agreeing with me.
Bernard.
This is my final proposal to you. Do it as a pilot for 3 years. And then in that period, have a sunset clause to say, for the next 2 years, GR is going to partner with local assemblies to collect revenue, making sure they train X number of revenue collection officials. And then after that 3 years, it reverts back to the local assembly. Because you say capacity is what is needed. And we've agreed that capacity is legal, revenue, accounting, valuation, all these capacities. And we are saying the GRA's knowledge in collecting revenue at the highest level can be brought to bear to help the assemblies. So to agree with you, we can let the assemblies, the design of the local solution will be very particular to each assembly. So Adenta will say, for us, this is what we want to do. For Madina, this is what we want to do. But the truth is that you are partnering GRA. Some combination of that. We don't have the full design. But I think to solve this problem, we all need to agree that it's not an either or. The GRA has some knowledge. The assemblies have some capability. Let's work together, but let's give it a time, because let's assume we don't want to change the law. So you say the law and the ultimate aspiration of the constitution is that we must decentralize. And I agree that you cannot have a decentralization agenda and then be centralizing revenue collection in perpetuity. So you can say, let's give ourselves a 3 or 4 year window where we will use the GRA to build the capacity of the assemblies, to learn all the Gestapo methods of collecting money from these malls and apply them to our assemblies. After a period, you go back.
I agree.
I have the as MC for New Job. Now, Godfred said I should interview him.
Ask him how he collects.
You need to tell me what to ask him, because
you ask him how he collects property rates.
Now I'm leading him with evidence on your behalf. because the interview is based on what you want to say. Now the assumption is that New Job is doing something good.
Yes, he's able to collect property rates well.
Is that a fact?
Let me tell you.
Well, but he will obviously not come and
he's
say
on
it's
the
not-
line.
No, but that's not the good way to go, because he will not say that he's not collecting revenue.
So even how to interview the man is also...
Yeah, no, we have to establish the ground rules first. So I'm going to interview him on the assumption that
cautious.
My colleague on the air has said that New Job is one of the best revenue collectors and property rate is working there. Good. Based on that assumption, I'm going to proceed with the interview.
Continue.
Honorable Isaac Appel, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Thank you for joining us. I am reliably informed that your assembly is one of the more efficient revenue collection assemblies in the country, and that even on property rates, you are doing very well. Please, is this correct?
Well, I would say yes, we are doing well.
Any numbers to prove? So share information. How has it been since you took over? What have you done different? How much are you collecting versus what others are collecting, for example?
Okay. I'll be very honest with you. I don't have the numbers in front of me now, so I may not be able, although I know the numbers have gone up, I will not be able to speak in direct figures, but maybe later on I can give you the real figures. But having said that, let me tell you what we did. When I assumed office, first of all, let me greet your listening public. I think you are doing a wonderful job anyway. When I assumed office, we used to have a private collector, and his contract had come to an end. So we also took on board a private collector. And what we did before we started the collection of property rate was to first of all get the data, register every single house within our municipality. So we were trying to make sure we are able to rope in as many houses as possible, which we didn't have before. And I think that is the bane of most assembly. The data is not there. And most assemblies do not have the capacity to be able to get or collect all the various homes or houses they have in their municipality. Either they have not addressed their minds to it or have not addressed that. If you do not have the data, what would you be going out to go? What would you go out to collect? And two, another problem was to the fact that most properties or houses were not valued. And so what it means is that if you have not valued a house, you only, per the law, just give it a stated figure, for instance, a whole big house, you may charge it, let's say, 99 cedis. A house that, if it is properly evaluated, you can take as much as 500, probably 1,000. You will take only 99 cedis because you do not have evaluated property. And so what we did was to contract valuation office that we have in Koforidua to help us evaluate a lot of the houses that we have in Koforidua. So with that evaluation done and the data we have collected, to make sure we know where each of the houses are, it helped us. And also, I have always believed that as a leader, you have to take part in the process. I was among those moving from houses to houses, i.e. educate people, meet communities, let them understand the importance of paying taxes or paying their property rates so that we can all develop with the money, the little money that we have. So it's a combination of factors that worked in our favor. Having said this, I've earlier on told you that a lot of the municipalities do not have the capacity to get some of these things done. And that is the reason why this new policy being rolled out by the President, His Excellency, the President Bernard Avle. For me, I think it's a good one. What it's going to do is that the valuation board will be able to evaluate all houses that we have in the country. Also, proper data will be given to the various assemblies. And then the GRA, I'm told, are the ones going to lead this new policy. And let me make this point clear. All the money that will be collected based on evaluated figures that have come up will be put in the assembly's coffers, okay? And then the assembly will get 70%, 30% going to GRA. So for me, I think that with this new policy, it is going to help us as a country. And of course, most assemblies, hitherto, who are not making any money, will benefit.
So Honorable, let me understand the process that is being proposed. Yes. The money that will be collected after the valuation, will it come directly to your assembly or go to a central fund and then be redistributed?
No. It comes into the assembly's fund, the account that the assembly has. The assemblies are the ones who are going to even take the larger share, that is 70%. And 30% goes to the GRA. So for me, now that we'll be having right evaluated properties and also with the right data, look, the assemblies are going to benefit, in my view.
This is interesting because your assembly is supposed to be one of the ones that is the better performing ones using a system that works because you're able to value. A lot of your colleagues are unable to do the evaluation. Now, the argument this morning is that the GRA's involvement will help the assemblies. And you being one of the more successful assemblies still thinks, yes, the GRA will help you, even though they'll take 30% of the money. Does that mean that if the GRA comes on board with this new proposal, the amount you will raise will be much more than you've already raised? Is that the understanding?
Going to do better, much better than we are making now. And I believe in that strongly. You see, hitherto, we did not, and I told you that earlier on, we did not have enough data. Data collection has always been a problem in this house. In this country. And I think that is the reason why this registration of national identity card, and for me, I believe in that. If you get the fundamentals right, you will succeed by all means. Okay? I told you, we didn't have enough data when I assumed office. I identified that as a problem. And then we started working towards that.
But let me understand your capacity in doing this work, because one of the arguments we've made is that the assemblies don't have the capacity. So I am guessing that you had some support from some donors or some agency to do the valuation in the manner in which you were able to do it. No?
That is a very intelligent question you just asked. What I did, when I sat down with the private entrepreneur whom we had contracted to help us, they decided to burn the costs by themselves, this data collection. And so they paid for the registration of all the various homes and shops, and so they had the data, even though they didn't complete the entire municipality. But I would say about 2/3 of the municipality was captured. So that was. Then we also approached the valuation board that we have in the region. Okay, for that one, we paid, the assembly paid for them to do the valuation for us, and we were paying them bit by bit. So, like I said, if you didn't do that, it would be very difficult for you to collect property rate. And that has always been the problem across the entire country. Most municipalities don't have the right data, And so they are only charging standard rate. That's why I cited an example that you will see a very beautiful house or building, but because it has not been evaluated, he or she pays just a standard rate. That is 100 cedis, 99 cedis. That's it. You can't go beyond that. But this is a house that hitherto, if you have maybe evaluated it, you can get about 400, 500. And you have so many beautiful houses, new cities, buildings springing up here and there, but they've not been evaluated. And so if you are a chief executive and you don't begin to solve these fundamental issues, certainly you will be having problems.
Yeah, but Honorable Apao, again, thank you for your example. Using your example where a private partner has been innovative enough to pay for the data collection, you've also had some help in the valuation, and you've managed to raise property rate. Wouldn't this new GRA proposal, which will bring in a different property collector, because it means that the guy who has invested in your assembly for this 1 or 2 years is going to go out. He has local knowledge, he has acquired knowledge. GRA is going to bring a different group to come and collect the money. Should there not be flexibility to say, for assemblies that already have a working system, we should not tweak it that much? Because now this guy who is sitting in his house saying, Charlie, I've done 2 years for Koforidua Assembly, now I'm going to go home with nothing because GRA has brought a new policy. What do you say to him?
Very brilliant question. Let me tell you this. The assemblies, the GRA, if I've understood them correctly, they are not bringing entirely new workforce. They are collaborating with the assemblies to bring in people who are experienced, who know the terrain, and also the GRA brings in the expertise, how you collect. You see, I have the benefit of living in North America for almost 20 years. I understand the concept of revenue collection, the way you can call people, persuade them to make payment and stuff like that. So probably I came from, it helped my administration. GRA has that already, okay? And so GRA is coming in my view, with that expertise to help, collaborate with the assemblies so that they can rake in a lot of revenue. And for me, Bernard, I'm telling you, when this policy is rolled out, a lot of the deprived areas in this country, the municipalities and the districts, will benefit because they are going to take the money directly into their own accounts, and then they remit GRA. So I don't see how any assembly will be lost out.
Okay. In the current system you run, how do you collect the money? Is it by Momo, or do men go around collecting cash and issuing receipts? How do you actually collect the money?
Yes, that is fantastic. Look, what we brought in was the introduction of what we call the POS system. Okay? The POS system is a gadget that one goes in, and that was introduced by the private entrepreneur. Okay? And so people go there, you pay, it's locked into the system, you are given a receipt, and then it's registered in the assembly within their network. Okay, so everybody sees how much you have paid. Now, except of course, where in extreme cases, probably the system is down or whatever, and then you go and you make payment, you issue receipts. Also, we were trying to discourage people from coming to your doorstep to collect fiscal cash. Anytime you have human being interface, that is where there seem to be problems here and there. However, once you get into automation, which I believe the GRA will be bringing, it helps the process. Okay, and one thing I did, which also helped us, the sensitization. You know, they're not paying taxes. It's, Nobody enjoys paying taxes. I mean, that is a fact. However, if you sensitize the people enough and you make them understand the benefit of paying their taxes, and also, I mean, the fact that they will be getting A, B, C, that continuous engagement helps the process. And so you asked whether we made them pay by Momo. Yes. We, not too long ago, introduced Momo payment system. And that is helping because now somebody who is a worker, let's say he lives in Koforidua, but he stays in, he works in Accra. Probably you go to his or her house, you don't meet him. If you make available the possibility for him or her to pay by Momo, the person just pays from
fantastic.
wherever he or she.
Honorable, I have a final question for you in terms of national policy design. Some of us think that privileged assemblies and municipalities like Accra, Kumasi, Koforidua can be weaned off the DACF because they have such tremendous IGF potential. The number of shops, the number of commercial areas, the number of, and in fact, from what you've already done, I can even take a wild guess that your IGF is at least equal to the DACF, if not more. Now, if that is correct, do you not think that it is about time that, so you would address that first, do you not think it's about time that more privileged assemblies like yours be gradually weaned off the DACF so that if we have DACF, we'll give it to poorer assemblies with weak revenue potential in rural areas?
That is an argument that I believe, or a discussion that we can deepen it as we go along. I don't know whether we are a privileged assembly. However, let me attempt to dive into that. Well, I mean, don't forget that Koforidua is not a metropolitan. It is a municipality. Okay? Metropolitans, they have a set criteria that determines, I mean, the amount of DACF that comes into it. And the same goes for those of us who are classified as municipality and also that of district. Now, I agree with you that all the districts or municipalities do not have the same standard. Some are more higher than the others. However, I have told you, it also depends on the type of leader or whoever is in charge. If you are bankrupt of ideas, certainly you will not be able to capitalize. You may be in a very endowed municipality or district or metropolitan. But if you lack ideas, you will still not be able to raise revenue, I mean, to sustain your development. So it depends on who is at the helm of affairs.
I see you are struggling with this one because I want to believe that theoretically you agree with me, but practically you are thinking about how Koforidua will run without DACF. That's why you don't want to agree with me.
But no. But I'm raising some issues. Maybe you have not listened to me carefully. I'm saying that I do not necessarily disagree with you. All I'm saying is that it also matters, I mean, whoever is at the helm of affairs, whether the person has ideas or lack ideas.
But that's why we should appoint people who have ideas like you. So that one is not difficult, Kra. I'm sure we can find 216 people in Ghana who think like you in every district, who can do the work you are doing. So for me, if we want to solve our problem, we shouldn't say that. I mean, why should you appoint an incompetent MC? Why do you want to do that? If the guy can't raise revenue, what's his business doing the MC work? But that's the last question. Have you been able to raise more IGF than DACF? Do you have those numbers?
No, I won't say that we have raised more IGF than DACF. Maybe a par.
Which is still good. Which is still very good.
I wish I were to be in the office so that I could have, I mean, speaking. I don't like when I'm speaking in abstract. I like to speak with, figures, so that we can do a lot.
But at least the IGF is there. The DACF money, the bet hasn't come, because I know it is in arrears of like 2 quarters or something.
See, that is why a lot depends on the IGF. You will have to fall on the IGF for almost everything. And you're right. If you do the right thing, you should be able to raise enough revenue so that you can get a lot more than in your municipality. That much I agree.
Well, it will be good to come to your assembly to see what you are doing. So hopefully maybe my co-radio correspondent will come and see you, so we can see what you are doing there that can be learned from elsewhere. But we want to thank you for your time. Honorable Isaac Apau is the MC for New Jobbing. Amazing stuff, very good insights, which is very interesting, because even though Godfrey raised him ostensibly to back his point,
no, I'm saying that
the man actually supports my point.
The fact that he supports your point. The fact that he supports your point. The fact that he supports your point does not take away from the fact that prior to the coming into play of this idea, he was doing well in that area.
Yes. So he should be the last. You see, this is my point, that the guy has. But you can't. The show is over. Let's blame you. Let's go. The show is over. The witness that look, Godfrey said I should raise somebody on the line to prove to me that the assemblies can do the work.
But they were doing the work.
No problem. I raised the guy. The guy said the work they will do. But the thing you are proposing to do, that GRA will support, is even better. So
what do you expect him to say?
If he fails, this guy
is an appointee of the president.
Let's not do that to him. He sounds like a very solid man.
If this guy seriously felt that, if this guy seriously felt that this was an inimical proposal to the fortunes of the assembly, he would have found a way of saying it.
You expect him to say that?
Even if he won't say it openly, he will find a way of letting him put it across. He was very clear. He said, we are collecting enough. He explained that the company that came on board paid for the data collection, not the valuation, data collection. And therefore, it helped them to increase their collection. And he says, if this approach that they are adopting, which I am proposing, is to be done, they will increase the revenue collection. Now, the question about centralization has been addressed. He says, the assembly people will collect it, and then they will pay the GRA the 30%. So there's no issue. That's what he said.
No. The collection is done by the GRA.
No.
From what we read here, the collection is done by the GRA and then remitted to their bank.
He said,
no. We read it here. We read it here. We all
but
read
the man who is on the ground is saying
then maybe you misunderstood what he said. The collection is done by the GRA and then they give them 70%.
No, because I tried to ask him about the issue of delays and he sort of explained it.
Oh no, I don't get that.
Maybe Nathan, I don't know if you're listening, but I don't know. Yeah. So Sky, my point is that the man that was brought in to support the case of the Godfrey Akoto and Co has ended up saying that GRA will help them. I think we should just end the discussion and move forward.
Let's move forward.
Yes. We don't have anything to argue against.
Let's move forward.
Second-hand goose.
That's the local assembly should be whichever way it is.
Second-hand what?
Oh, there's another major issue. So
which issue is that?
So the
electrical appliances.
So this was happening.
Tell him my second-hand it has worked for 10 years. So.
No. You see, let's not think like that.
I'm just telling you before you start. Have a second-hand iron that has worked for 10 years. It has never broken down.
10 years.
No, you see, these are the mentalities that are inimical to development.
Oh, I'm just telling you. I haven't said anything.
The Energy Commission.
What are they
and
doing?
Fred, I'm moving to the next topic. The Energy Commission.
Please, Fred, your name has been mentioned.
The Energy Commission has proposed, and they are implementing a ban on the importation of second-hand electronic appliances.
Yeah, the regulations were passed last year by Parliament.
Wonderful.
And they're seeking to put it in effect.
Good. So, Fred, if you can get the Energy Commission input, otherwise I'll read what they said.
So 19 new...
Now, the Energy Commission says there are about 6 reasons for wanting to ban the importation of loose electrical appliances. I'm looking at the list of appliances. I can't find it.
Okay.
They are saying that the first point is the point of economy. The second point is the point of individuals. And I'll explain. The third point is the point of the environment. And the environment has about 6 further points. Now, economy, they are saying that used appliances are high energy gasless. In 2003, a study conducted by the Energy Foundation revealed that a whopping 30% of the total national electricity generation was wasted on used appliances. This puts pressure on the economy to increase generation capacity, which requires the building of more power plants and also buying fuel to run these power plants. This robs the economy of monies needed to develop essential sectors like health, education, and roads. It should also be emphasized that markets that are inundated with used appliances scare away investors who want to build assembly plants. So that's the first point. Second point, individuals. Unsuspecting individuals who patronize their used appliances are robbed of their hard-earned money in payment of high electricity bills and high maintenance costs. The maintenance costs become so high because of lack of spare parts in view of the obsolescence of the technology. The stockpile of appliances in repair shops around the country attests to this fact. TV, fridge, washing machine, gas cooker, electric cooker, iron, heater, all this. Number 3, environment. The more power plants
skills to it.
The more power plants we build to meet the ever-growing demand, the more fossil fuel we burn with its eternal emission that pollutes the environment. Secondly, appliances contain hazardous substances. That is the reason why disposal is done in an environmentally friendly manner. The indiscriminate burning of the discarded appliances in search of valuable materials is a major climate and health concern. Following the Paris Agreement on Climate Change in 2015, Ghana has recently developed an action plan to transition to net zero carbon emissions by the year 2070. And the ban on the importation and use of these used and inefficient appliances will contribute hugely in attaining net zero emission within a stipulated period. So these are the 3 main reasons: dumping, energy inefficiency, and environmental issues. Now, the Energy Commission also likes to state that Europe has passed stringent environmental laws that make disposal of obsolete appliances expensive. They are therefore always on the lookout for countries that do not have environmental laws or have weak enforcement of the environmental laws and ship all the junk to them. More often than not, environmental companies in Europe collect monies from their governments for recycling and disposal, but ship them to Africa and the developing world for sale and thereby gaming the system. An environmental company that shipped 17 containers of used refrigerators and freezers to Ghana in November 2013 was caught and the appliances were seized and destroyed. Our unsuspecting kinsmen have become the conduit through which these unscrupulous foreign companies perpetuate their diabolical climate injustice contrary to the Vienna Convention. The Energy Commission has a mandate to fulfill the act that established it in ensuring the efficient utilization of indigenous energy resources, and that is exactly what we are doing. Our intention is a far cry from what the groups want Ghanaians to believe. That's their destroying their livelihoods. Now, Fred, if you can give me the voice clip of the... Caleb, please come. The voice clip of the people talking about the... who say they oppose the ban on importation of electrical appliances. Then we can have a discussion. It's 10 minutes past 9. We are moving to another subject this morning.
There's a story on Citi Newsroom that I can read for you quickly before we take a break. It says that the concerned second-hand dealer association wants government to stay all plans to ban the importation of used appliances into the country as a risk affecting their livelihoods. So there's a quote attributed to their president, Daniel Asare. Now that there's economic hardship all over the world, why would one say they are taking away jobs that feed millions of people in this country, forgetting a contribution to Ghana's GDP? If the sitting government is seeking assistance from the IMF, which will prevent them from employing workers, where would they find jobs for us and the graduates in our homes due to government's inability to get jobs for them? We are very much convinced of hearing something good from the Energy Commission and the government. Then there was a quote from Guta as well, Dr. Joseph Obing, who is quoted as saying that our total engagements with the Energy Commission are inconclusive, so we will not accept any ban on used clothes. The fact that the clothes are second-hand does not make them unwholesome. We call on government to, as a matter of urgency, hold a meeting with the Commission also on Parliament not to consider any ban.
We'll take a break and get the audio clips of these 2 recordings for you. And then we'll get into what is done. This is Citi Breakfast Show. Stay with us.
Unleashing the power of relevant radio. This is Citi 97.3.
Later, just do your message for me.
Well, are you getting good insights from your data for decision making? Join the data analytics revolution and empower your team to work smart, save time, and deliver insights from data using the world's most powerful business tools, Microsoft Excel and Power BI. That's very true. Finance Skills Hub is offering hands-on practical training to corporates and individuals in Excel for work, data analytics, and financial modeling to help you improve productivity at the office. Get in touch with them via their website, finexskillshub.com, or call 0244782356 to sign up for our corporate and individual training sessions. Finex Skills Hub, learn, connect, grow. And Providence Insurance is 40 years. They're welcoming you. Yep, they're welcoming you to a new year. Remember to insure your new car or renew your existing motor insurance policy from now till March 31 and get a free gift, such as a free coupon, several other branded Provident souvenirs. Rush for your insurance cover now. T's and C's apply. Remember, with Provident Man, you are covered. Now, it's a fabulous back-to-school offer at Roberts & Sons Optical Services. Bring your kids to any of their branches in Adenta, Weja, Adabraka, Osudan, Kwaseko, Tema, East Legon, Koforidua, and Kumasi, and get a 10% discount on the total purchase of their blue light protection glasses. Kids between 6 and 16 years also get a 50% discount on comprehensive eye test. The offer is valid from February 13 to 28. T's and C's apply. Call or send them a WhatsApp message on 0501 519 111. Don't miss out on this offer for our kids. Visit us now. Roberts & Sons Optical Services. Seeing is believing.
All right. You have the public notice, which enacted new regulations on electrical appliances and renewable energy products.
Yeah.
Give me the background and mention the specific items that have been affected. Then we'll hear from the traders, and then we'll speak to the commission.
Okay, so basically, towards the end of last year, Parliament passed new regulations. In fact, they are about 19 in all, affecting appliances that they say should not be imported into the country to the extent that they are second-hand or used. There's a number of reasons to support this. But let me take you to the public notice that the Energy Commission issued. It is titled Enactment of New Regulations on Electrical Appliances and Renewable Energy Products. And it says that the Commission was established by an Act of Parliament, the Energy Commission Act of 1997, Act 541, to ensure the judicious use of energy resources in Ghana. Now, the Energy Commission wishes to inform the general public that per its mandate under Act 541, it has caused Parliament to pass 19 laws to regulate the market.
19 laws.
Yeah, serious. For electrical appliances and renewable energy products. Now, the purpose of the regulations is as follows. 1, to prevent Ghana from becoming a desirable destination for both new but substandard and used appliances. 2, to save the economy by reducing electricity demand, which necessitates additional generation capacity with its associated fuel costs. 3, to protect the environment and safeguard the health of citizens from air pollution caused by increased power generation. And 4, to protect the consumer from purchasing unsuitable appliances and the payment of unnecessarily high electricity bills. So these are the 4 broad reasons or purposes behind the...
So dumping, economy, energy issues, environment...
Yeah, and also saving your money.
Money, okay.
Yeah. Now, it goes on to say the Commission urges the general public, particularly importers of electrical appliances and renewable energy products, as well as prospective manufacturers, to take note. Now, here are the details of...
So just mention the device without going to the law.
Okay, so clothes washing machine. So
clothes washing machine.
Yeah, so what you use in your home or maybe at your laundry or laundrette to wash your clothes.
The washing machine.
Yeah. Industrial fans.
Industrial fan.
Yeah, affected. Rice cookers.
Do people import second-hand rice cooker?
Yeah, that's right. Go to, Kaneshi, you'll see a lot of them there.
Rice cooker.
Yeah. Computers. Also affected.
Second-hand computers.
Yes, second-hand computers. So set-top boxes. And then also ventilating fans also affected. We also have solar panels affected. Microwave ovens are also affected. Storage water heaters also affected. renewable energy batteries.
That one to the buy second hand?
Yep.
Like car battery?
Yeah, that's right.
Second hand?
Yeah. And then public lighting is also affected. So public lighting, some of these street lights and all of that also affected. We also have improved biomass cook stoves. We also have television sets. Electric motors also affected. Electric kettles also affected. We have air conditioners also
second-hand
affected.
AC.
Yeah, that's right. And then distribution transformers are also affected, as well as comfort fans and inverters.
So standing fan.
Yeah.
So all these things.
The law is saying that you cannot import the new ones that are substandard and then also the used ones into the country.
Let's hear from the concerned second-hand dealers who are calling government to stay all plans to ban this, and then also from Guta. So we'll start with this.
The government should therefore come to our aid by considering the huge number of people who are engaged in this business and their direct beneficiaries, and not forgetting the numerous numbers of people who are patronize these items. Now that there is economic hardship all over the world, why will one say that he is taking out jobs from which feeds over millions of people in this country from our hands, and not forgetting about our contribution to the Ghana's GDP? Jobo! Yeah! Jobo! Yeah! Again, if the sitting government is seeking for assistance from IMF, which it will prevent them from employing workers, where will they find jobs for us and our graduate children, which we are still feeding in our homes, due to the inability to government to find jobs for them? Jobo! Yeah! Jobo! Yeah! We are much convinced that after this press release, we will hear something good from the Energy Commission and the government.
Stakeholder engagement with Energy Commission is inconclusive, and that we sit with Energy Commission, and that we will not accept any ban on used goods. The fact that goods are used or second-hand does not make it unwholesome. Goods can be new and they are unwholesome. It's standards and regulation that we use to decipher what is wholesome from what is not. And so we call on the government as a matter of urgency to facilitate this meeting with Ghana Energy Commission, and then we call upon Parliament also not to consider any banning of these products, because it employs a lot of people. We are talking about more than 200,000 people directly depending on this industry. Our brothers abroad and those in Ghana, and they are dependents. So it's not a small industry. And we do not have any precedent of other countries, especially the developing ones, that we say that second-hand goods have been banned. It's never there.
So 19 items listed by Sky have been banned, and this took effect from November 2022. The laws took effect, and that from this year. Let's talk to the official in charge of this at the, what's happened to him? At the Energy Commission. The line is cut. Okay, we'll call him back. We're going to talk to Hubert Zan, who is the Assistant Manager for Energy Efficiency. Yeah, but you were trying to say something that you have a used iron or something.
Oh, no,
but the iron was not part.
Yeah, but
hold on, Sky. They didn't have pressing iron.
No, they didn't add a pressing iron.
Why didn't they add pressing iron?
Well, that's a question that we can direct.
But was there fridge there?
Yeah, fridge is.
Are you sure?
Air conditioners. Hold on, let me get back.
No, I didn't see fridge.
Yeah, I think I did not mention.
I saw washing machine, industrial fan, rice cooker, computer, set-top box, ventilating fan, solar panel, microwave oven, storage water heater, renewable energy battery, public lighting, improved cook stove, TV set, electric motor, electric kettle, air conditioners, distribution transformers, and then comfort fans, and then inverters. All right, Mr. Zan, thank you. You are the Assistant Manager for Energy Efficiency Regulation. Thanks for joining us on Citi FM.
Good morning. Thank you, Bernard, and good morning to your listeners.
Wonderful. Let's start with what is not on the list, because for us, we thought that electric irons should be on the list because they seem to be very common imported items.
And fridges too.
And electronic refrigerators, but those two are conspicuously absent from your list.
Exactly. And it is quite a daunting list of appliances, but we had to find a criteria to be selective a bit. The Energy Commission intends to add on all of these items you have mentioned. But before that, we had to look at also the usage in terms of which appliances were frequently used in homes and over a long period of time, which consumes so much.
So from your calculation, are these 19 items the highest consumers or the most energy inefficient?
Exactly. So we are looking at penetration and also consumption level. So these two are put side by side.
I see. So what type of engagement was held before this? Because I'm hearing the association say, for example, that the engagement is not over and the ban should not be implemented. Guta seems to support the view. Joseph Belbin was talking after Mr. Asari Daniel. What type of engagement? How long has this been in the works?
So this has been in the pipeline since as early as late as 2019, going into 2020, and a lot of engagement has been done. Parliament would definitely be sure that stakeholder engagement has been done. But I think the most important thing is that Energy Commission is officially coming out with its notice. But this said group, went ahead of the guns, to come out to make these appeals to the public when they definitely asked for a scientific means of us being able to undertake this exercise. And I think what we have done is nothing different from what the Guta president asked for, to be scientific in determining how these products either meet the efficiency or do not meet the efficiency. It is not about taking sides to say that you have banned used appliances. Our public notice is very clear on what the regulations seek to do. And what we intend to do is to set minimum energy performance standards for these listed electrical appliances that are coming into the country. So if you read Regulation 1, Regulation 3, and Regulation 4 of all of these regulations, they are very clear on the purpose of the regulation, the duty to comply with the regulation, which is to meet the minimum energy efficiency performance as we have indicated in the schedule. And the schedules are the standards that were developed by the Ghana Standards Authority. Regulation 4 also talks about the prohibition of the items that do not meet the standard. And Bernard, it's important for people to note that it is not taking side on saying brand new goods are to be allowed into the country. What we are saying is that even the brand new items can be substandard. And that is the case we have found ourselves in, where now Ghanaians and a generalized situation are comparing second-hand goods to be more durable than the brand new. Why is that so? It is so because you don't have regulations or standards. And so anyone at all can travel out of the country. Being a businessman, they bring in products, claiming them to be brand new. But there are grades of brand new, and these ones are usually substandard goods. So our mandate, Energy Commission is clearly executing its mandate to be a referee between the importer and then the manufacturer. Remember, the importer has his capital. He doesn't have the technical background to be able to bring this product. And so we are saying that before you bring the product, come to Energy Commission, provide the necessary technical documentation of the items you intend to bring into the country, and then you have the approval. So we are protecting you from the manufacturer. Now, after you have succeeded in doing that and you are importing into the country, the Energy Commission plays the role as a referee between the importer and then the consumer. And Bernard, you agree, the consumer is you and I, including the importer. We have to make sure that people are responsible for the products they bring into the country. And that is what we seek to do, Bernard.
So I noticed that the public notice did not use the word second-hand goods per se.
Exactly, Bernard.
So
and
is that deliberate?
They jump the guns. We are very clear on our prohibition. That and you see, as a technical person, you don't want to sound biased. It's like setting an examination at the university level. You say you are setting an examination for level 400. A JSS pupil says that he will be able to pass that exam. It is not up to me, the lecturer, to say a JSS person cannot pass a university exam. But I know he will have some barriers. And what are these barriers? That he will not have all the information enough. He hasn't studied enough. He doesn't have the syllables. He hasn't completed essays to be able to pass a university level 400 exam, which is the standard we have set. So it is up to the students to write the exam, pass it, bring his certificate to tell me that even though I was in JSS, I have passed a level 400 examination. And this is how we want to put the analogy so that everybody appreciates what is happening.
So Ghana is a sovereign country, and we have to protect our market and our borders. But we've seen pushback in certain countries where, for example, Rwanda tried to restrict the importation of used clothing.
Right.
And they had some real pushback from the U.S. government. Have you gotten the buy-in of your sector ministry and all the appropriate agencies? Do you have the support of government at the highest level? Because the press conference that we witnessed was held by traders, and we know that traders have been powerful enough to even silence manufacturers in Ghana when it comes to the benchmark value. So, I mean, if they start talking about votes, elections are coming, we are going to vote against the government and all those things. How much work have you done to guarantee that these laws that have passed will be implemented?
Bernard, I can say on authority that a lot of work has been done. What we need to do now is the education. The question is, what was Guta calling for? Guta was calling for a scientific means to be able to establish that items coming in either conform or do not conform, and not just about a blanket statement saying, don't bring a used product. And that is exactly what we have done. So I think it will be in order to check from Guta now that after Energy Commission has released its public notice indicating the minimum energy performance standard, does that sit well with them? And I can assure you that Guta will give the green light for this to continue. And it's important for traders to appreciate this, that in trying to do business, let's think about our neighbors, our people that we are coming to sell these products to. It is not just about making profit, but it's also about the burden you are putting on the person you are coming to sell these items to. So in terms of approval from sector ministry, before the law is passed, it has to be gazetted and then signed by the sector minister. And our able sector minister, Honorable Matthew Opoku Prempeh, signed onto these new regulations. And of course, Parliament has passed them. So they are now laws. And that's why you can see the legislative instrument numbers, the LI numbers attached to them.
So when do the laws take effect?
Yeah, so the date of entry per the regulations are 2nd November 2022. However, there was a transitional period that was given as part of the law because we anticipated that people would be importing the goods, people have items on the high seas, and so you'll be very, very selfish to just try to enforce. So effective date of entry was November 2022. They have a transitional period of 1 year. And so effective November 2023, full enforcement will start on the regulations.
And I imagine that the enforcement will be at the ports.
Exactly, Bernard. And so we are very certain that we have control of what we are going to do. It's very sad, Bernard, that this is revealing a lot of things. What you should be asking the second-hand dealers is that, do they have records of payment of duty of these products that they are bringing? And I cite an example with used refrigerators. This law was passed in 2008, LI 1932, which banned the importation of obsolete second-hand refrigerators and air conditioners. But Bernard, drive through La Paz and Kaneshi right now. These items are there, being sold. And you wonder, how did they come into the country? So we did a market surveillance, and these retailers told us that what they are selling is old stock. And we said, old stock from when? The law was enforced in 2013. Are you saying you had this stock from 2013 up till 2022? Can you provide any document? He said, no, we know it has been banned, so this is old stock we kept on. We kept all this while. And Bernard, records at the port shows that day in and day out, we are seizing these items. And I mean, the commission is always ready to provide you evidence. We are seizing these items. And what is actually happening is that these people are smuggling the goods into the country. They are taking advantage of customs descriptions as personal effect and household goods. And then they load commercial quantities in these containers. They block them with all kinds of items, vehicles, and all those things, car ties, and make it very difficult for you to do 100% on stuffing. And you know, when it comes to this, discretionary measures are used and people are taking advantage. So we are saying that as a businessman who is ready to make sure that the country also develops, describe the item, get the approval from the Energy Commission, pay the necessary duty on the product, and let's see if you can come and reduce the cost, as you are saying, second-hand goods are cheaper or brand new goods are cheaper. It is about you doing the right thing. And the Energy Commission is very clear that we want to protect the market. We want to protect the consumer. We don't want a situation where something happens in this country and then the blame game starts. Where is the regulator? Who is in charge of this? I think, Bernard, we should be moving away from that kind of blame game and also endorsing and then encouraging institutions that want to take proactive measures to be able to do things that will help everyone in this country.
Thank you very much, Hubert Zahn, Assistant Manager, Energy Efficiency Regulation, Energy Commission. Seems well thought through.
Yes.
Process is much detailed. The law doesn't even mention second-hand goods. I don't see any problem except the pressure of traders saying they will not agree.
Because, you see, I appreciate Mr. Zahn's position on the matter. But if you look at if you had to do a ratio of new goods being imported and second-hand goods being imported on the electrical appliances, what would be the ratio?
Well, he actually says that he doesn't want to use second-hand because
the
law can even catch fresh.
I understand. The law can catch, but I'm saying the concerns of those we are talking about here is focused on the second-hand goods. Yeah. They will not be worried.
They know that second-hand goods will not pass.
They know.
They know. Yes.
You understand? And I'm also saying this based on the graphic business page 17 that has the press release of the Energy Commission, where it says effects of used appliances dumping. Okay. And then talks about used appliances are high energy guzzlers. There's a significant reference to used appliances within the press release.
Yes, to show that this is where they were going.
But it also includes new appliances that don't meet the standards. I'm happy they are doing this.
Well,
okay.
But do you foresee political sabotage?
Here's the thing. And it's the same situation that I described for you at the ports last year, where the government was caught between a rock and a hard place. Political pressure in the matter between manufacturers and importers again. You know, the need for revenue and the need to industrialize. They are going to have the same problem here because although Mr. Zahn makes the point about whatever it is that people bring in and whether they are mislabeling and what, it will be interesting to see how much revenue the government raises from taxation at the port on these things.
That's a good point. And he also talks about how they mischaracterize the things anyway.
Yes, and if you look at the sheer volume of the things that are coming,
why can't the importers just move to importing new things?
Because they are more expensive.
Now we should buy it on high purchase.
Yeah, and that's Sky alluded to some of the tactics that they employ. So they attend charity sales, they purchase these things in bulk. Now, the reason why it is even coming here in much larger quantities, and I'm happy that the Energy Commission is taking this up, and I hope they are brave. Okay, but I was hoping they would announce an outright, if it is electronic and it is second-hand, don't bring it.
No, they didn't do that because that politically will be suicide.
Why will it be suicide?
I think what they've done makes more sense.
Okay, so let me explain. See, the language of the regulations allow for where, for instance, maybe you've been living in China for 3 years. So you just
people exploit it.
Oh, no, hold on. So you bought the television set 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And you want to import it to Ghana. The question then will be, it is second-hand. Should you bring it into the country? Of course, once it is tested and it meets the requirements of the law, you can import it. You understand? But what will be the problem is where it is used for so many years and it is incapable of meeting the requirement, which is often the case with these importers bringing these things into the country. So the law is expansive enough as to allow for people like you to bring your things into the country. The difficulty will be whether the importers who import on commercial quantity or in commercial quantities can't meet the requirement because of the types of things they import.
Which is why I'm making the points I'm making, that I would have been happy if the law was very explicit, like a lot of countries have done. You see, because the difficulty that we are facing, one, like I explained, with the government is they make a lot of money from the ports on this. They will not want to lose this money. But the problem is this. A few years ago, I'm coming to China used to collect 70% of these things.
Wow.
Yes, because they'll break it down, it goes into manufacturing,
recycling,
and all those things.
You know,
yes. Then guess what? China said not again. So China completely banned it.
But China is a different country.
No, you don't get it. Now, if China and its size and was taking 70%, said that it won't take any more, where do you think it was going?
Africa, unite.
So Ghana, Nigeria, Thailand started taking. Now, 2 years ago, Thailand also realized that, no, this was a problem. So Thailand also banned it completely.
But they've also banned it completely.
Completely.
But that's what we've done.
Is that what we've done?
We have said that if your item doesn't meet a certain standard, it can't come in.
Yeah.
So in effect, so you see, this is what
that's the point I'm making. The effect of it.
The effect of the law, because of the politics of importers. So they have been very smart.
But don't be smart about. You see, the way our country works.
Ruthless.
You should. When you start being smart about the wording of the law.
No, that's why I'm telling you that if you were to introduce it like that, then you cannot bring such an appliance.
They don't.
No, but that's not fair.
Don't.
If I, for instance, I used my MacBook in the UK for just a year or two, and it is still very functional and great.
But when you come, you bring one MacBook. You don't bring a container.
I'm bringing
a container of MacBooks. Were you using a container of MacBooks?
So somebody is moving house from Houston to Accra. He had a house. He had TVs. He had stuff. So he buys a container to put everything in it.
Yes.
This may be an importer wanting to come and just sell second-hand goods. But I could also say this is my personal effects. So he's saying that and I think it's back to your GRA point,
No, but
which
again,
we have to address that. Can GRA or whoever is at the port customs decipher between what is being brought in commercially to sell and what is somebody's personal effects?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying, that what kind of person says I am moving house and in the container that you have made for the 40-foot container, you have 18 televisions, which is what we to do.
I had a big house.
So ban it completely. But this is for me a very important first step by the Energy Commission. I appreciate the question Bernard asked about spine, because what sometimes goes unsaid is the fact that the European countries and the UK, your UK, big culprits in this. They dump electronic waste. The Americans do it a lot. And there are significant lobbies that ensure, because they don't want to deal with this in their country. So they will send it across, which is why sometimes you get the kind of pushback you get with the threats that they issued on Rwanda, Kenya, South Sudan on the second-hand clothing thing, that they will expel them from Agua. 6 said, we beg you. Rwanda stuck by their guns and said, take your Agua. We don't want it. We'll ban you. Take it away. So it depends on what we want to do. But I'm saying, if you look at what we are dealing with now, the gravity of the problem we are dealing with, if we don't shut the gates between us, Nigeria, Kenya, and a couple of other countries, look, they are just pushing the thing. And we do not have the capacity
I agree with you.
to deal with these things.
I actually think
close the doors.
I think the commission has been very smart. The only thing they haven't done is, I don't think they've engaged enough. For example, we put this topic up that we're going to respond. We spoke to second. I think they should be more public facing. They should go on air and say, this is what we are doing, rally public support for it. Because you see, the importers have been very strong on many things.
Oh, they are.
Some of which don't necessarily benefit the overall general population.
Yeah.
But the livelihood argument always resonates with politicians. And for some reason, they're able
the revenue side.
They're able to push through a lot of the things that they want. Okay, so I feel that the Energy Commission needs to find a way to properly engage on this for the public to understand the inimical effects of these things on our environment. I was asking myself, so all these second-hand cars that we buy, what do we do to them?
We sometimes scrap them for spare parts. We sometimes use them as they are, or by repairing some parts of them
go to Kokompe.
Damaged.
Go to Kokompe.
And then we also use them sometimes for fishing.
To the point that they even have a team called Iron Breakers.
Yeah, that's right. So
they have broken iron now. They have a football team called Kokompe Iron Breakers.
Yeah, that's right. So sometimes you can also scrap them to do.
Do we have a proper recycling facility in Ghana?
Not that I know.
So if you import 50,000 cars every year into Ghana, and most of those cars, when I look at car numbers, every January new car numbers come. So a lot of the cars we import into the country, they go off the road after maybe 10 years. Where do they go? Where do we keep them?
Yeah, so
we are creating an environmental hazard for our kids. Do we have a policy on getting rid of? There are a lot of urban spaces with, they call it fitting shop.
But to be fair, there are also steel companies in Tema who buy these metals and then use them in iron rod production and some other things.
Really?
Yeah, that's right. I mean,
so your fitting shop at Kokompe. That if we go to Kokompe now, and there are a lot of cars just sitting there.
Oh yes, because people hope that they would repair them.
Please. There are fitting shops with cars that we know will not be repaired. Like if you go to Odona, where water has entered some of the cars, there's a major fitting enclave at Odona. Most of those cars are not going anywhere.
Yeah, but sometimes people take it there hoping that they will repair. Even on the Adabraka Road, people have put their used cars that are bad now on the road, occupying the space. And the assembly should come and deal with them, but they are not dealing with them. What I'm saying is that sometimes the expectation is that we will fix it. When I get money, I will go and pay the repairer to fix it for me. But they don't get the money ultimately. But Bernard, I think the cost factor is also one of the main reasons why people turn to these second-hand goods. Because, for instance, the other day, someone was looking for a television set. One that is 85 in size, the 85-inch one. And then it is what? 8K, which is the what do you call it? The resolutions that you see. 8K. And wants to buy one. Bernard, if you go
want to see clearly.
Yeah, that's right. You want to see clearly. When the water drops, you know that water is
5 inches. You don't be the cinema.
Dude. Bernard, the person wants to buy this thing. If you go on Amazon, you get this thing for between £1,600 and £3,000. If you do the math,
when you melt it,
when you do the math, at the minimum you are paying something in the region of 27,000, 30,000 for it. But come to Ghana, a quote that was received regarding this particular matter. So the new QLED is an updated model of
something.
QLED, and you have to pay for the 85-inch 8K, 67,000 Ghana cedis.
Duties.
Why should that be?
Because of duties.
I mean, how much is the duty?
Have you been to the port?
67,000.
And I'm not his duties and FX.
It doesn't make sense. So I honestly think that yes, there should be a ban. We should work towards ensuring that it works. But better, it comes back to my point earlier that the GRA itself is not clean.
We'll come back. Stay with us.
This is the Citi Breakfast Show, the city's biggest conversation.
OneXBet. Easy betting, easy.
Yes. And this song reminds me of the Heritage Caravan. Pack your things and let's go. Well, we are sold out, but it's on between the 4th and 11th of March. We are traveling across the country, Ghana. A journey full of fun, education, information, wonderful memories, and great bonding moments. Brought to us by Citi TV in partnership with the Ghana Tourism Authority, Citi FM, Hollard Ghana, European Union, Malta Guinness, Ebony Condoms, Goyle, National Lotteries, and Baltic Mineral Water. And also, the Effective Living series has come to a wonderful conclusion with yesterday's presentation by Michael Oheniefa. You can go online for all the... How many episodes was that? 4 times 4 plus 1? 17 episodes. Sponsored by Enterprise Insurance and Hallmark Freights and Logistics Ghana. Bisake Day. What kind of name is that?
Solid guy. I mean,
Bisake Day. Is that like a short form or is that his real name? Bisake Day.
That's his showbiz name.
Day.
Bisake Day. They be too much. Charlie, final comments later. Sky.
Okay, Nathan.
Okay, all right. This one says, Ben, if there will be a ban on these appliances, then the importation of substandard appliances should be properly checked. And
reduction of import levies.
Okay, and then it says, imagine a young man trying to start a cleaning business, spending over 27,000 for a floor scrubber when I can get it for a maximum 4,700 at La Paz or a second-hand dealer shop. Ibrahim in Spintex. Hey, boys. All right, this one says, where are all the 1D1Fs for all the things they are banning? And why exactly are computer monitors on the list? Okay, Albert from our billing page.
We don't know how to dispose of them.
Okay. This one says, are there no second-hand appliances that are energy efficient? Some are even more energy efficient than the new ones on the market.
The test will prove it. It's not by text. Yeah. They said they will test it. So that one is not shouting. You shout. If your appliance is meeting the standard, bring test. That's all.
But the testing is human beings who test.
With machines.
The free some of the people. The computerized school placement that only 2 people are even doing. That one self, they have beaten the system. I'm just saying we should watch them.
I think you are not being fair because the port operations are not exclusively GRA. So, for example, there are national security people there. There are various standards authority people there.
Yeah, but their job...
No. So if, for example, testing an appliance's functionality is not a GRA function.
No, you see, the description, when the goods are coming from the good of the origin, they show you that the good is coming in from this place and it is labeled A, B, C, and D. When it comes in, it is your job to ensure that
it is... Why are you doing a gamma lizard with a new topic to go back to the old topic?
No, I'm just...
You are a gamma... We have finished the local... You want that one. Now we are talking about the... You are moving back to GRA. But GRA don't test equipment.
Did you hear the gentleman we
He said people but if somebody's mischaracterized a good, it's not just the port has many people.
So the GRA's job is to ensure that the good is compliant.
But human beings will test.
Is the GRA the one that tests?
Human beings will test.
Oh, please. They want to revive the issue, but the issue has been...
The test that will run.
The horse has left the stable.
You will see the test that will run. We have hope.
We have to help them to make the thing work.
Oh, yes.
That's all. Crowd of Richard, Godfred, and Nathan with me here. Caleb has the news at 10. Good morning.
Good morning, Bernard. Coming up, government's deadline for its domestic debt exchange program expires today, and Ministry of Foreign Affairs and